points? Am I making them better? Am I moving them to the next level? Nobody has seen the next level, but it is your job to move them from the present to that next level. If you are doing that, if you are concerned about moving your team from level 1 to level 2, then you are a leader. Then you are fulfilling your mandate and you are meeting your task. Because the task of the leader, according to Henry Kissinger, is to take his people from where they are to where they have not been. Wise words on a Wednesday. That's our business sense, brought to us by ADB. ADB, truly Agric and more. Coming up next is the newspaper review. This is still the City Breakfast Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Why would you want to be caught up in this?
Madam, what is the meaning of this?
We're trying to resolve.
Why can't I use...
is next. And it's brought to us by Fidelity Bank. Fidelity Bank is bringing you the Sikaboom promo to help you pick up some good money, especially these days that the budget isn't budgeting. All you have to do is deposit and maintain 300 cedis and multiples of it in your Fidelity account every month during the promo period to qualify. And you could win 100,000 cedis in the grand draw in 2023. Open your Fidelity account today, make that deposit today, and win big. Fidelity Bank, believe with us.
It will smile right back to you.
And the segment is also brought to us by Total Energies. Total Energies is your marketing company and is trusted. And they've won the Petroleum Company of the Year on 3 straight occasions by the CIMG. They've now been inducted into the CIMG's Hall of Fame, the petroleum sector, or segment, or group. Total Energies is promising that they will continue to deliver exciting and innovative products that meet the needs and expectations of you, their cherished customer. And the newspaper review is brought to us by Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, happy smile.
He said, behold, behold, I come quickly. Please don't sell your souls for money. Behold, behold, I come quickly. He speaks to the Jews and Gentiles. Behold, behold, behold.
Let me welcome the gang.
He said, behold.
I've got Godfred and Kokwi here. Good morning. Welcome
Good
to
morning,
the
good
news.
morning, good morning.
Yep.
Charlie, democracy is frustrating, but we must endure.
Charlie,
Because watching
yesterday. Oh my
Charlie, I was very
goodness!
frustrated.
I was like, "What is this? Is it a sitcom? Is it a like
It
what's
is
going on?"
democracy at work.
Yes.
That is what oils.
Yes. In the
The
early
system.
90s, we decided to go down this route, and it comes with this.
Does it?
Yes, it does. It's part of it.
Sitting, objection,
Charlie.
no,
Yeah. It's quite
yes.
colorful though. This particular one is quite colorful.
Yeah,
I think the chairman
The very
one in particular is very colorful.
Katie Hammond.
Charlie.
Katie Hammond.
Charlie.
He's a whole different
It's a
level.
whole mood.
The
It's a whole vibe. But I'm
legendary-
not sure. I don't know.
The
Chairman.
legendary Kwabnata here, Hammond.
I mean, we know their affiliations, right?
Yeah, it's quite clear.
as when you're on these committees, are you supposed to show those kinds of?
This is what I'm saying. It's democracy. It's what it
Biases.
is. It is what it is. It's what it is. We'll get there.
The system is hard.
This is all part of the getting there. Albeit very frustrating. Anyway, front page of the Daily Graphic. Censure motion. Minister counters proponent Friday as 7 grounds laid for removal. On the front page of the paper comes with Kenoforiata conferring with his counsel, Gabi Asare Ochredako. Also, OSP investigates Edu Boahen. We heard that yesterday. Support proposal to close polls at 3 p.m. Deputy EC chair urges political parties. Interesting. And GSS partners celebrate 8 billionth baby. Yeah. 8 billion.
Now we are now 8 billion officially plus
Plus.
our population.
Plus,
okay.
plus.
On the Ghanaian Times front page, at Parliament's censure probe, Oforiatta calls for fairness as he appeals for documents to execute motion. Also, a special prosecutor investigates Edu Boahen and others over Galamsey economy. That's Anas's expose. And GHS and Koika signed $12 million second phase Chips Plus project. And
Okay.
also, it's here again. Ghana marks symbolic birth of 8 billionth baby at Ridge Hospital.
Well, if it's not Ken, it's Gabi and Oseche Mensah. They make it to the front page of the Republic Press. But I think Gabi has a response on his Twitter handle. I'm sure we'll get to that later on. But the Republic Press's front page says that they have clashed. The OSP's investigation of Charles Edu Boahen makes it to the front page. Ken also.
All right. The Chronicle front page. You have no power to probe conflict of interest, Oforiatta tells censure committee, and cites Supreme Court to support argument. Also, Aisha Wang speaks English and Twi fluently. Court told. Yeah. There's a couple of the headlines on the Chronicle front page. And also Matthew chapter 15 verse 3. He answered them, "And why do you break the commandment of God for the sake of your tradition?"
Okay, let me take the front page of the new publisher again, dominated by Oseche Mensah Bonsu, Gabi Asare Ochredako, and then a really bizarre story, man shot in the face.
The New Crusading Guide front page. Begin probe into corruption allegations. OSP goes after Charles Edu Boahen. All I want is fairness, Oforiatta insists at censure probe. It is impossible to impugn the honesty and integrity of Dr. Baumia. That's also on the front page of the New Crusading Guide. And Richard Ahiagma says government's fight against Galamsey is yielding results. Also, the Ministry of Fisheries is to organize 3rd Fish Festival in Accra.
Finally, from me, the front page of the BNFT comes with a story that is very dear to my heart. Tor yet to process crude 8 months after new MD board appointment. Tor yet to process crude 8 months after new MD board appointment. Yo,
Okay, the final front page. Oforiatta asserts his rights at censure probe. He's responded to the motion on Friday. Enterprise Group presents newly refurbished male ward to Ankerford Psychiatric Hospital. Ghanaians scramble for affordable foodstuff at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Ghana attains 100% gross enrollment ratio at pre-primary level. This is according to Deputy Education Minister Reverend Tim Fodjo. And that's on the front page of the final. And finally, from me, the Ghanaian Observer, Ghana Integrity Initiative commends Vice President Baumia. Again, Ghana attains 100% gross enrollment ratio with strong early childhood education. Foreign Minister proposes changes in Commonwealth. Anas expose, the OSP begins probe over Edu Boahen's actions. And censure motion, Finance Minister insists on fair hearing.
Okay, now if you go to citinewsroom.com, of course, the censure hearing is also here. Oforiatta to respond to minorities' allegations on Friday. Okujato Ablakwa is telling Gabi, you can't teach me how to do my work. Quite heated there. And the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, says Oforiatta's recklessness caused Ghana's woes, not Russia and Ukraine. And Chairman Sabosu takes on Gabi over claims he wants Oforiatta's job. Okay, so those are some stories on citinewsroom.com. Other stories on that same website. It says Anas expose OSP probes Edu Boahen over corruption allegations. And I don't buy fuel because I don't have a car. KT Hammond is speaking there. If you go to citybusinessnews.com, they also have a number of stories on their portal, and it says telcos contribute 4.3 billion cedis in taxes. So that's what the telcos are saying there. Banks urge to leverage economic crisis, and of course Greta talking about the private takeover of the Saglemi housing project. If you go to myjoyonline.com, they also have a number of stories there, and the first one, or the biggest one they have, says 98 NPP MPs to boycott budget presentation, Finance Ministry business if Oforiatta is not sacked immediately. The plot thickens, I always say. And why is Akufo-Addo not seeing the bigger picture? That's a question being asked by Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante of the CDD. And of course, special prosecutor going after Mr. Edu Boahen there. And constitution of ad hoc committee might prove problematic. That's according to Inusa Fuseni. And ECG customers rush for electricity credit as system failure enters day 4. This morning, we'll try and get some answers, hopefully from the ECG. If you go to Star FM, .com.gh, ad hoc committee grants 48-hour request for Oforiatta to respond to minority claims. Those are some of the stories they have there, and they say revenge on the radar for new black stars. And if you go international, the BBC, they have a live ticker. Unlikely that Poland missile fired from Russia. That's according to Joe Biden. And Donald Trump launches 2024 White House bid. So it looks like Donald Trump is not going away anytime soon. He wants to throw his hat back in there. And
Did he ever go away? He's been still dominating the news in his way. Oh gosh.
All right, I think we'll
start. Okay. Let's start from the Parliament and all the happenings there. Front page of the Daily Graphic. The ad hoc committee tasked to investigate the various allegations to justify the removal of the Minister of Finance, Ken Oforiatta, from office commenced hearing yesterday with the proponents of the censure motion outlining 7 grounds to substantiate their call to push out the minister to save the Ghanaian economy from further deterioration. The lead proponent, Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader, assisted by the ranking member on the Finance Committee, Dr. Cassava, supported the 7 grounds with figures from official documents such as budgets and fiscal data series from the Ministry of Finance website to firm up their motion for Parliament to impeach Mr. Oforiatta. Now, originally, Mr. Oforiatta was not due to appear before the committee, but he showed up at yesterday's hearing in the company of his lawyer, Gabia Sarachedako, and his 2 deputies at the Finance Ministry, Dr. John Kuma and Abna Osei Asare. The documents ended were in response to a letter which the committee received from the Finance Minister dated November 14 this year, which co-chairman of the committee, Mr. KT Hammond, had read out. So quite a few things happened yesterday.
If you go to citynewsroom.com, though, they have a very interesting angle. There was an exchange between Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa MP and Gabi Ochidakun, who's counsel for the Finance Minister. Now, Mr. Ochidakun had sought to advise Mr. Ablakwa to reserve some of his comments for a press conference and not the committee sittings, but in a sharp rebuttal, the North Tongue MP asked the seasoned lawyer not to attempt to teach him his job. And he says, quote, You can't come here and teach me how to do my work. You can't come here and throw your weight about. This is Parliament. You can't tell me what to do. You are not the chairman, so don't tell me what to do. End quote. A livid Ablakwa retorted.
Yep, and in the Chronicle newspaper, you have no power to probe conflict of interest. So this is Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta challenging the authority of the ad hoc committee set up by Parliament to probe and report on the motion of censure against him in 7 days. According to him, one of the grounds of the votes of censure regarding conflict of interest was a reference to bond issuance since 2017 and how much went to Databank, which is co-owned by the finance minister, and is, he says, outside the remit of the committee. He spoke through his counsel, Mr. Gabriel Tridakon, and he argued that a member of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Bridget Jimfi, had taken the issue of conflict of interest with respect to bond issuance to Shraj, and the latter ruled in his favor. And he said, if I may carry it a bit further, there's a case that I think we're all familiar with. That's Okujito Ablakwa and Attorney General and Obechebi Lamte. And he said, just for the purposes of this, let me quote, to go back to the point, the Minister of Finance has gone before Shraj. Shraj investigated an allegation of conflict of interest and ruled in his favor. I think this committee should take full knowledge and cognizance of the fact that it's a constitutional matter. There's an appropriate forum, and an appropriate forum is Shraj, not a committee of Parliament. But no,
let's stay with Mr. Gabriel Oshedako on the front page of the Republic Press. They are reporting that he and Oseiche Mensabun, so the majority leader, have clashed over Ken. The majority leader, Oseiche Mensabun, was hit hard at Gabriel Oshedako over allegations he reportedly made about him recently. According to him, Mr. Oshedako, a cousin of the president, accused him of instigating his colleague MPs who demanded the sacking of the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. So some quotes are here. Quote, from nowhere, we hear Gabriel Oshedako on the Sasasi radio accusing me of instigating what's happening. For what? What do I stand to gain from that? He retorted. He was speaking on Sumpa Radio in Kumasi. We are told Gabi has responded on his Twitter handle. We'll get to that later on. And then just to close up the finance ministry issues, the OSP, the special prosecutor, has announced the commencement of investigations into allegations of corruption leveled against Charles Edubwine.
Yes, and that is also in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times. We can read more about that. But we are now officially 8 billion plus people, also in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times. Now, what they do is each country celebrates the birth of the first baby who is born on World Population Day. So UNFPA basically sanctions every country to say, okay, whichever the first baby is where you designate in your country, you count that as your 8th billionth baby. We had ours at Rich Hospital. It was a baby girl. She was born a few minutes after midnight. And the Statistical Service joined the Ghana Health Service and the United Nations Population Fund to mark the birth of the 8 billionth baby at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital in Accra yesterday. Baby girl was born 5 minutes after midnight. The symbolic ceremony was witnessed by other partners such as the National Population Council, National Development Planning Commission, and the Regional Institute for Population Studies. In addition, there was the pre-launch of a book on Ghana's population. And there's quite a bit of talk about population growth and where we're heading and what could be done, or what should be done, or do we need to do anything to control our population growth. And the editorial in the Ghanaian Times this morning talks about that. It says, control population growth to achieve SDGs. And it goes on to give us some history of how we started calculating the world's population and how it has been growing and what intervals. And it looks like we have shorter intervals now with the billion, interval increases. So whereas the first billion was recorded around 1804, 123 years later in 1927, that's when they said we were 2 billion. Then 33 years later, it was 3 billion. Then 14 years after that, it became 4 billion, etc. Now, when we were 7 billion, that was in 2011. And now we're set to be 8 billion. So as you can see, the intervals are shorter. Population is growing. So read about that in the Ghanaian Times.
Dr. Letitia Pia will be smiling after being abused in this country for years for saying what the Ghanaian Times is saying.
Yes, we need to take a look at our population.
As I said, she had even been called un-Catholic.
Really? Yeah, because she is a staunch Catholic. And
anyway.
she's a great expert in this area.
So what will the 8 billion people eat? Well, those in Ghana, on page 24, news not so good. Farmers sell large proportion of produce due to poverty. This is according to a new study conducted by a team of researchers from the University of Ghana, and has revealed that most farmers in the country sell a large proportion of their produce, including food they reserve to eat for the rest of the year. Those who produce food crops such as maize, rice, yam, and sorghum also sell their produce because they need cash. A researcher at the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research of the University of Ghana, Dr. Fred Janku, said they, farmers, have children who go to school. And since they do not have any other source of income, they sell the food to take care of their needs. Unfortunately, he said, after engaging in such commercialization, those farmers don't have food to depend on in the latter part of the year. He said most of them also devoted their resources to the production of non-food cash crops, even in the highly commercialized regions.
Well, speaking of food, Ghanaians scramble for affordable foodstuff at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. So there was a huge scramble at the premises of the ministry yesterday when eager shoppers thronged the premises for the Planting for Food and Jobs market to procure food items. Patrons were in their hundreds. They gave the ministry officials a hard time as they surrounded the tables, which had been set up as vending stations. Now, food inflation for October increased to 43.7% from the previous month's food inflation of 37.8%. Month-on-month food inflation is 3.2%. Inflation for locally produced items was 39.1%, while inflation for imported items stood at 43.7%. As at noon, when the finder got to the ministry, there were hardly any goods on sale. Patrons were clamoring for information from the sellers or jostling to get ahead of one another in the queues, while the more patient ones stood aside to stare at the chaotic spectacle. The press secretary to the Food and Agricultural Minister, Issa Al-Hassan, described the high patronage as a rational response from Ghanaians to the low prices at the PFJ market. He said this should send a message to the people at the open market to price their goods reasonably to attract patrons. And he said patrons should exercise patience as the ministry is putting in place measures to ensure that every person comes to the PFJ market and gets at least a bag of rice to take home.
Staying with that, this research that I'm just talking about focused on cassava production as well. And cassava stakeholders have also called for industrialization of the sector. Pages 24 and 25 of the Daily Graphic deal with this. Now, according to Professor Joji Chikata, she's the principal investigator of the team. They have said that there were 800 million chronically food insecure people. That's the general figures. But on cassava, it says the state and policymakers should map out what cassava means in the development of the nation and its position in the future development agenda. This is because if you go to the other story, citing data from the Ministry of Food and Agric, we are told that Ghana produces 18 million tons of cassava annually. We consume about 8 million and record 10 million tons of annual surplus, which is unuprooted and left in the ground to rot.
Oh, okay. All right. I have two stories for you from the Finder. One is the editorial, Stop Stigmatizing Female Infertility. And actually, the First Lady has been speaking about this as well. And she says stigmatizing women with infertility challenges is gross injustice. So again, that's Rebecca Ekufuado, the First Lady, speaking on that. But the editorial is also focusing on infertility and the way women are stigmatized for not being able to bear children naturally. So it's been a neglected issue in our public health arena, particularly in low and middle income countries. In Ghana, as in many other contexts, childbearing is viewed as an essential role for women. Prevalence rates estimate that 15% of Ghanaian women of childbearing age experience fertility problems in that they are not able to conceive a child after 1 year or more of regular unprotected sexual intercourse with their partner. Ghanaians see their offspring as a source of joy, and children also play an important role in assisting at home and with family income, etc. But the stigma associated with infertility causes so much psychological, economic, and health repercussions. So read more about that in the Finder. Then, just to add this one, a pretty bizarre story, but since we're talking about infertility, a woman, a pensioner, pays 70,000 Ghana cedis to make her ex-lover impotent. Yes, and a cross-circuit court has granted a 70,000 Ghana cedis bail with two sureties to a self-employed man who allegedly took 70,000 cedis from a woman under the pretext of helping her make her ex-lover impotent. Now, Prudence Osabute, who's the complainant, who said she could not share her ex with other women, sought help from Modesto Sedo, the accused person, to put a spell on her ex-lover's manhood. The court ordered that one of the sureties be justified with a land title deed. Now, Sedo denied the charge of defrauding by false pretense. Osabute is a pensioner, lives at Teshinuwa Estates, where Sedo also lives. In March of this year, the complainant's boyfriend introduced Sedo to her as a friend. The court heard that later, a misunderstanding ensued between the lovers, and the complainant confided in Sedo. Sedo took advantage of the domestic conflict and collected 70,000 Ghana cedis via MTN Momo. Really? I didn't even realize you could send that much. Really? Okay. Under the pretext of giving it to a spiritual father in Kumasi to cleanse her and to make her boyfriend impotent, but he failed. So a report was made to the police for investigation, and Sedo was arrested. Now, Sedo, apparently, after investigation, they found that he tried to use the money to buy vehicles from Togo, but he was swindled.
Wow. So he also got swindled.
Let me give you a quick story before you go international, Nathan. Tor yet to process crude. That's on page 3 of the BNFT. Says that Tamari Refinery is yet to resume processing crude oil 8 months after a new managing director and board were appointed. Jerry K. Hinson, its current managing director and board of directors, were appointed on March 2, 2022. But 8 months on, the Institute of Energy Policies and Research, an energy think tank, says the situation is becoming worrying as the refinery is yet to resume operations or even chart a pathway to restart operations. It then goes on to outline what the problems are, how much is needed to get it started. It's a pretty thorough report by Thomas Moore Adongo.
All right, just a final bit before we head out quickly. Don Trump says he plans to run for the U.S. presidency 2024, and he's saying America's comeback starts right now. He addressed supporters in an hour-long speech at his Florida estate, Mar-a-Lago. So it looks like we haven't seen the end of Don Trump just yet. He says there's more left in the tank. All right, that's our newspaper review. Thank you, Koki. Thank you, Godfred. Up next is the Citi Business News.
Up next, we asked some Ghanaians what they would do if they were blessed with 100,000.
Coming up next is the Citi Business News, brought to us by Goil. Goil is an oil marketing company of choice, and they are making things easy for you. You can pay with mobile money when you go to buy fuel at Goil. Just visit any of their social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to find out more. And bits of extra news from Goil: they've reduced the fuel prices, an 11.5% reduction. So get there and load up. Access Bank is also bringing us the Citi Business News. They've brought the Access Bank triple salary promo. Switch your salary account to Access Bank's Empower salary account today and automatically enjoy free interest on payday loan, pick now, pay later loan, fly now, pay later loan, and other personal loans. You get to win all kinds of interesting goodies when you do so. The promo is running between now and the 30th of April 2023. Visit ghana.accessbankplc.com or visit any of their 53 branches nationwide or call 0800 004400 today. Access Bank, more than banking. Now, what makes me look forward to weekends lately is the joy of knowing that I can just and vibe with my family and friends non-stop on Sundays. So with as low as 52 pesos, enjoy endless conversations on MTN. Just dial star 550 hash and you are good to go. T's and C's apply. And the City Business News also brought to us by Enterprise Life. Enterprise is your advantage. Let's get into the City Business News with Michael Obodu.
Hello and welcome to the breakfast edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN Goal, Enterprise Life, your advantage, Access Bank, modern banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. Coming up, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana COPEC urges Bank of Ghana to sustain its supply of dollars to bulk oil distributors to maintain drop in prices at the pumps. Also, Development Bank Ghana DBG expresses commitment to support the multi-billion-dollar Cassava value chain. My name is Michael Obudu, and let's head straight into our stories now. As consumers of fuel in the country should continue to expect some reduction in fuel prices at the pumps today, as some oil marketing companies have begun reducing their prices. At leading oil marketing company Goal, the price of petrol has dropped from 17 cedis 99 pesos to 16 cedis 82 pesos, and while diesel reduced from 23 cedis 49 pesos to 20 cedis 50 pesos per litre. This comes at a time when consumers have consistently raised concerns about the high cost of fuel in the country, especially as the commodity retailed at 6 cedis 50 pesos in January. The Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana COPEC, Duncan Amwa, has been explaining what accounted for this latest decline in the prices at the pumps.
The current decline in prices is largely attributable to the Forex or the Citi exchange the dollar over the period. Indications we get is that the Bank of Ghana has stepped up supply of Forex to the petroleum importation market, and that clearly has brought some significant relief to the BDCs, and for which the OMCs can pass on the reductions that you are seeing. Again, diesel also went down in the current pricing window by some $123 a metric ton, which is good, although it is not what you can point to as accounting for the reductions you are seeing grossly. Largely, the BOG has done some good job, and the only commendation we have for them is to sustain what they have been able to do so far, making the Forex available.
Meanwhile, Duncan Amwa further admonished the Bank of Ghana to not renege on its efforts at supplying players in the oil and gas space with dollars to purchase products.
You can only sustain these gains if the BOG does not renege on what it has begun. Somewhere in June, July, the BOG went back on, a similar auction experience where it was making the dollar available to the market completely. If that dollar supply declines, then the BDCs are forced to now go back to the open market to source for the dollars, whose rates are usually higher. So we need the BOG to be persistent and sustain what they have started in order that we can also sustain the sort of declines or reductions in pump prices that we are seeing currently.
Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC. Now, on the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar remained unchanged and is selling at 13 cedis 8 pesos. The British pound gained 17 pesos and is selling at 15 cedis 55 pesos. The euro gained 3 pesos and is selling at 13 cedis 56 pesos. However, at some Forex bureaus, the dollar is selling at 14 cedis 50 pesos. The British pound is selling at 16 cedis 60 pesos, and the euro is selling at 14 cedis 60 pesos. Now, the Development Bank Ghana (DBG) has indicated its commitment to partner with key stakeholders to grow the country's cassava value chain. The root crop is cultivated by more than 70% of farmers in the country, and it contributes about 22% of agricultural GDP. However, challenges including processing are hindering the maximization of the products in the country. CEO of the bank, Kwame Duka, stressed his outfit's commitment to improving the fortunes of the sector. He spoke during the Maiden Cassava Multi-Stakeholder Forum organized by GESA in partnership with DBG and Ghana Industrial Cassava Stakeholders Platform.
We need to collaborate to set new standards, and this requires that we have authentic, honest conversations, and we take action. We need to roll up our sleeves and work together to come up with solutions that allow to important next steps. At DBG, we believe it's only by working together, by collaborating, that we will succeed. So our promise is this: we will collaborate with key stakeholders to help fund and support businesses to grow the cassava value chain. We will do that by combining finance, capacity building, and market development. We also provide leadership in terms of policy development with our shareholders to stimulate a conducive environment for us. In return, all we ask is that you bring us bankable deals, and we will support it. Together, we can build a real transformation of the cassava business in Ghana that will strengthen the economic futures of our dear country. Let's win together.
You heard the CEO of the Development Bank Ghana, Kwame Duka. Now, Ghana's tourism sector is emerging steadily from the COVID-19 pandemic. It remains a significant contributor to Ghana's GDP and continues to attract foreign investment. Ghana has the potential to further develop tourism infrastructure and services as the country continues to take steps to grow the sector. The following News Desk report has the details.
Ghana's tourism sector was one of the hardest hit by the COVID-19 outbreak. The sector is projected to create about 1 million jobs, while contributing about 6.2% to the country's GDP. Most of the income realized from the sector mainly comes from foreigners who visit the country. However, the sector experienced a rapid and sharp drop in demand and a surge in job losses with the emergence of the pandemic. 3 years after the outbreak of COVID-19, the government of Ghana has since announced the removal of several COVID-related travel requirements. Negative rapid PCR tests are no longer required prior to flying to Ghana, and a $150 antigen test upon arrival in Ghana has been phased out as well. As part of plans to revive the sector, the Ghana Tourism Authority has announced its readiness to receive international travelers this Christmas season as part of its 10-year initiative Beyond the Return. Ghana was recently listed as one of the top travel destinations by National Geographic. As it has been predicted, the country will receive a record number of visitors this year. According to the CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajiman, series of engagements with industry stakeholders are underway to ensure the readiness of the country to host tourists and boost the sector.
Anita Kisimreku with that News Desk report. Now, as part of moves to make Ghana a statistically driven economy, the Ghana Statistical Service is calling on stakeholders to review how inequality expenditure is captured and interpreted at the local level. The service believes that for Ghana's household to achieve a diverse wealth balance in their average homes, policymakers should be more open for broader objective data analysis discussions. Here is the government statistician, Professor Samuel Komnainim, speaking on the issue.
Globally, the bottom 50% own only 2% of the global income. This is the conversation that we should be having today when Ghana Statistical Service, throughout the population housing census and our most recent surveys, we've been emphasizing the deprivation that we see in this country. The Savannah region, we've highlighted it several times. The Northeast, which follows, we've highlighted it several times. And Chair, you will recall in my earlier submission sometime this year of the way we as a country, we capture inequality using consumption expenditure inequality. It wouldn't take us anywhere because by then people would have received remittances here and there. So the effect of wealth inequality that we see at the global level, the effect of income inequality that we see at the global level, we don't see the same with consumption expenditure inequality. So the 0.43, the 43% that we record as our inequality is not reflective of the disparities that we have in the country. That is why we took the pain, take public sector earnings, look at basic salaries, look at allowances, calculate inequalities, and we put out figures in the region of 74% for basic salaries and as high as 94% when you take into consideration allowances.
That was government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim. Let's now join Gillian Hammer of DataBank for more on the topic. What is the meaning of mark-to-market and how does it impact one's investment?
Mark-to-market is a valuation method where the value of a security in a portfolio reflects its current market price and not the purchase price or face value. It also indicates how much you would receive if you sold a security on the market today. A portfolio that is marking to market could see its price go up and down based on market or economic conditions. Let's say you bought 50 shares in a mutual fund when the share price was 2 cedis, giving you 100 cedis. If you decide to withdraw everything today, you would receive an amount based on the share price for that day and not the initial price you bought it at. If the current share price is 1 CD 50 pesos, you would get 75 CDs, while if the price had moved to 3 CDs, you would get 150 CDs. While it is a relatively new concept for fixed income funds in Ghana, that method has been used for equity and balance funds since they were introduced to the market.
That was Gillian Hammer of DataBank. And that does it for the breakfast edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN Goal, Enterprise Life Your Advantage, Access Bank Modern Banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Obudu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe and have a good business day.
A Razi TME, a Razi increment in my salary. This is all I ask this season. A Razi Bwame.
Mpaibo Mbappe, please stop disturbing God and switch yourself.
7:13. Coming up next is Kickoff. Giving you all that's latest and hot from the world of sports. Brought to us by Lecheho. Have you updated your records with Lecheho? Remember that as a directive from the Bank of Ghana, the Ghana card is now the only accepted ID for all financial transactions. So you need to visit any Lecheho branch near you to update your records with your Ghana card, so you are served faster and better. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 0574065958 or call 0302208333. Lecheho, let's improve lives. The World Cup is gradually getting closer. Starts this weekend. After waiting for 4 long years, the competition is back. And the Black Stars are also in Abu Dhabi. They are getting ready to take part in the World Cup. They had their first training session yesterday, I believe. And they'll be getting ready. They take on Switzerland on Thursday in an international friendly, a pre-World Cup friendly. That and a lot more presented by Benjamin Nketiah. It's Kickoff, probably brought to you by Lecheho on the City Breakfast Show.
Let's get into the headlines. And Ghana's Black Stars open camp ahead of the Qatar 2022 World Cup. French forward Nicolas Nkunku ruled out of the World Cup after suffering a foot injury in training. And in the NBA, there were wins for the Mavericks, the Pelicans, and the New York Knicks. Now, Ghana's Black Stars opened their pre-World Cup camp in Abu Dhabi yesterday with their first 2 training sessions. 23 players were at the afternoon session, and they included Captain Andrea Ayew, Jordan Ayew, Thomas Partey, and Mohamed Kudus. Now, 2 more players in Alexander Djiku and Kamaldeen Sulemana joined the team for the evening session, taking the total number of players in camp to 25. The only player left to join the camp is Spain-based defender Joseph Edu. Now, Ghana will take on Switzerland in their final pre-tournament friendly on Thursday before facing Portugal in their opening Group H game on November 24. Let's get to some more Black Stars related stuff. And Otoado, who is head coach of the team, has expressed confidence in the ability of the squad to progress from their World Cup group. Now, Ghana is in Group H, and the team held its first training session yesterday. Ghana starts the tournament with a clash against Portugal before playing South Korea and Uruguay.
We have to take step by step. First is the first match. Could be very crucial. So we do our best to win against Portugal. It will be very, very difficult, but it's possible. And I'm confident with the squad that we can do it. And then from this, we continue. But we have to take it step by step. And if we survive the group stage, at the end, it depends on who we get also. And sometimes it's inches. If the ball goes post inside, post outside, this one we can't control. But we to prepare the players as much as possible, and then I think we can have a successful World Cup.
Now, the Black Stars will continue their training today before facing Switzerland in an international friendly match tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Chairman of the Black Stars Management Committee, Mark Addo, has assured Ghanaians that there will be no distractions in the team's camp during the World Cup.
Where we are coming from, the 2014 poor AFCON, and then we were able to beat Nigeria and qualify. So it's a process, and we started the journey. So same thing when President Ketsi Murokrakuke administration came. We are coming from a very low ebb of our football. So if you look back 3 years, I think with significant work has been done, and the love is back. So the same way this love is back. It's just a matter of time.
The distractions around the team is something that has been spoken about tournament after tournament after tournament.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Management Committee Chairperson of the Black Stars, Mike Addo, speaking there. Let's get to some other stuff. And goalkeepers trainer at the Black Stars, Richard Olele-Kinson, says the team will give their best at Qatar 2022. Ghana heads into the tournament without the regular goalkeeper Joseph Wallacott and his assistant Richard Ofori due to injury. Now this has left Lawrence Atizigi, Nuruddin Manaf and Danlad Ibrahim vying for the starting slot under Otoado. Speaking to City Sports, Kinson is upbeat about the Black Stars' chances in the World Cup.
By the grace of God, I am the goalkeepers trainer. So when we get there, I think we are working on it. And when we get there, we know what to do. When at the beginning of the game, we are going to watch all the countries, and I know what I will impart into them. I can't predict that to win the trophy, but I believe we will get far. The old know the way, and then the young will use their energy. So blending with the two, I believe this time we'll go far and we'll perform well.
You had Black Stars goalkeepers trainer Richard Kinson speaking there. Let's get to some other stuff and let's get into our World Cup fact series today in Qatar. Evans Ofochumanso looks at the scorers of Ghana's 13 goals at the previous tournaments.
Welcome to Today in Qatar. Asamoah Gyan scored the Black Stars' first ever goal against the Czech Republic at the 2006 edition. The second goal was scored by Sulali Muntari, also against the Czechs. Hamidou Dramani and Stephen Appiah are the third and fourth scorers for Ghana in a 2-1 win against USA in Germany. Asamoah Gyan's penalty against Serbia in South Africa 2010 is Ghana's fifth, as he added the sixth goal against Australia. Kevin Prince Boateng and Gyan scored the seventh and eighth World Cup goal for Ghana in a 2-1 win over USA in a round-of-16 match at the 2010 tournament. In the quarterfinals of South Africa 2010, Muntari returned to the score sheet with Ghana's ninth World Cup goal in a 1-1 draw with Uruguay. Andre Ayew scored the 10th and 11th strike at Brazil 2014 in the group opener loss to the USA in a 2-2 draw with Germany. Gyan's equalizer against the Germans was Ghana's 12th World Cup goal and his last against Portugal, and Brazil is the country's 13th.
So Evans Ofochumanso coming through there with Today in Qatar. Let's get to some Ghana Premier League action, and there's midweek action as the league enters match day 7. Now today there's Asante Kotoko taking on Legon Cities. There's Adriana Stars versus Berekum Chelsea, and Swatraman will be up against Tamale City. There's also Karela United taking on Kim Faisal. Great Olympics will be up against Real Tamale United. Kotoku Royals take on Samatex Football Club. Bibiani Gold Stars will slug it out with Mediama Sporting Club, and then there's also Dreams FC versus Bechem United on Thursday. There's Accra Lions taking on Accra Hearts of Oak. Let's now move on to some other World Cup stuff, this time foreign. And France forward Christopher Nkunku has been ruled out of the World Cup after sustaining a leg injury in training on Tuesday. Now, the 25-year-old is the Bundesliga's top scorer with 12 goals in 15 games for RB Leipzig. He appeared to be caught by a challenge from Real Madrid midfielder Eduardo Camavinga. Now, the France squad are set to fly to Qatar today and will face Australia in their first Group D match. Now, Nkunku is the latest on a list of high-profile absentees for defending champions France, which includes midfielders Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kante, and defender Presnel Kimpembe. Now, Man United defender Rafael Varane is also still recovering from an injury. Now, a replacement for Nkunku has not yet been named. Let's do some golf. And president of the Professional Golfers Association of Ghana, Mark Kofi, has called on local golfers to represent the organization with high skills and quality at the 2022 Cedrela Open in the Eastern region. Now, about 70 pro golfers are expected to compete in the competition dubbed Road to Obutan, which comes off from today to Saturday, November 19 at Safari Valley Echo Golf Course in Edukrom. Now, the winner of the regular event will take home an amount of 17,000 Ghana cedis, whilst the champion of the seniors competition gets a reward of 7,000 Ghana cedis. Let's hear from Mark Kofi.
We have within the Road to Damai tournament a series of tournaments labeled the Road to Obutan. In this series we have 4 tournaments, 2 to be held in Samatex and 2 to be held in the Safari Valley Resort. So this year our vision was predicated on 2 main things: excellence and disciplined. We expect the professionals to show up in their numbers and to represent the organization with high skill and quality in the game that we want the amateurs to learn from.
So, President of the Professional Golfers Association of Ghana, Mark Kofi, speaking there. Let's finish off with some basketball from the NBA, and it was Luka Doncic on show as the Mavericks took on the Los Angeles Clippers. 35 points, 11 rebounds for Luka Doncic as the Mavs won that one. And then the Pelicans also took center stage against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Pelicans winning that one quite easily. The New York Knicks went on the road and beat the Utah Jazz, who are doing really well this season. The Portland Trail Blazers continue to be impressive. 117-110 is how they beat the San Antonio Spurs. And then the Sacramento Kings continue a resurgence of some sorts, this time defeating the Brooklyn Nets in a high-scoring encounter. 153-121 is how that game ended. That's all for this morning's edition of Kickoff. My name is Benjamin Inketia. Kickoff was brought to us by Lesheho. There's more sports at citysportsonline.com.
Trust the process. The biggest things often start small. No matter where you are now, the most important decision you will make today is knowing where you'll be tomorrow. All you have to do is take the next
Wabra kwetu imu and yes, menya bina matu my dream. Ubinti zikawa in it and food and tino me kona me my yabutura. Yankoti a drum brand one high si wa so remo. Me kona me my mampunyo. Wampai bona nyami bona me bedua. Metra wa ma say nyaguro. Me brony. Me see. Isi muna tantana sa adami maya. Udano. Adakuadi mi amana bruzuntino. Udano. Isi otachana sentia. Matima dream na mafemu wa bentino. Ukonda kayo ado. Sadafu biriba naji. Isi muna tantana sa adami maya. Udano. Adakuadi mi amana bruzuntino. Udano. Isi otachana sentia. Matima dream na mafemu wa bentino. Ukonda kayo ado. Sadafu biriba naji.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
This is the City Breakfast Show. Send us a message on 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Music coming from Dasibre Jamina. Few birthday messages coming in. This one says, happy birthday to my dear wife, Mrs. Gloria Frimpong. You work out of the way to keep our family happy and sane. From your husband, Sami. And happy birthday to Ceci Abui Aklobotu. We wish you God's blessings. That's coming from Mommy, Daddy, Komi, Ajo, and Kobla. This one is on Twitter at Nene_Odum says, today is my birthday, the fourth floor, here I come. Nene, happy birthday to you. Evans T. Asari, that's his name, and his handle is at Nene_Odum.
Floor. Yeah. He's joined the fourth floor. Congratulations, welcome.
He's just the fourth floor, here I come over. It looks like he's I don't know whether he's there or he's almost there.
Maybe this is the last year of
the third floor.
Season, yeah.
I don't know. But look, whatever it is, Nene, happy birthday to you.
stuff.
Today's his birthday?
No, they say he did something special yesterday.
Ish.
So they want him to know that they truly appreciate him.
Olumide is a really nice guy.
Yeah, so Olumide Olatunji, MD of Access Bank, your staff say you're awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. That's nice.
Yeah.
They're good people over there at Access. Good morning to everyone at Access. And Olumide, whatever you did, we don't know. But yeah, he's a nice guy. Nice guy.
They have some great news for you. In the prestigious Ghana Club 100, they picked up great awards, and 4 of their subsidiaries, Enterprise Insurance, Enterprise Life, Enterprise Trustees, and Acacia, in their respective positions as top companies. Again, in the recent CIMG Awards, Enterprise Insurance was retained in the CIMG Hall of Fame for the 6th straight time. And Enterprise Life was adjudged the Life Insurance Company of the Year, and Enterprise Trustees the Corporate Trustees Company of the Year. And they dedicate these awards to you, their valued customers. Dream big with us. Enterprise is your advantage. Now, your favorite Vienna water has become a basic staple to many Ghanaians. It's the #1 water brand in Ghana today. Now, the growing reputation of Vienna water was amplified by the Ghana Medical Association. They recently visited the facility. Now, Vienna water is a multiple award-winning brand certified by ISO and hazard analysis and critical control points, and is approved and acknowledged by the FDA and the Ghana Standards Authority. Vienna water is produced by Petroleum Industrial Company Limited, the pride of the Ghanaian beverage industry. Rich Cocoa is your favorite cocoa beverage made from the finest Ghanaian cocoa, and it's back with the National Essay Competition. There's a total of 100,000 cedis in cash prizes up for grabs to all junior high and upper primary pupils. Now, to participate, write an essay describing 5 things you would like to see to help improve access to basic education in Ghana. The essays must be handwritten and not less than 750 words for junior high pupils and 600 for upper primary pupils. Submit your essay together with empty packs of either Richoco 1 kg of 500 gram or 5 packs of Richoco 20 gram, and complete contact information to selected vantage points across the country. The deadline for submission of entries is 19th of November. So that's 3 days from now. Visit the Cadbury Richoco Facebook and Instagram pages for more details. T's and C's apply.
Okay, and looks like someone is celebrating a wedding anniversary today.
Ooh.
Yeah, so let's wish them very quickly. So happy 3rd wedding anniversary to Mr. and Mrs. Aikunu and Mr. and Mrs. Dansu. And this is from all couples of Save Marriage Foundation and Marriage Connect.
I see. Happy anniversary to you all. Sounds of Nane Champon. What is one Nanke Bede? If you ever listed the greatest diss songs or beef songs or shade songs in Ghanaian music history, Nanke Beden clearly ranks. You always hear these songs being played in very, very interesting circumstances. Very, very interesting circumstances. But Ernest Nana Champon giving us a gem. a gem. And on the album cover, if I cook on the album cover, wasn't this red suit?
You actually know the album.
Oh yeah. I go for don't even know. Red jacket, red pants, red shoes, and a red hat.
Hey.
We stand.
What?
Hey, then you do some Jerry Curl. You know first na champon. Sure. And you see, the point is, it's one of those things. When you see it once, it stays in your head.
It stays in your mind, yeah.
I was like, why is he wearing this?
but I guess it worked. You remember?
I remember it.
You remember?
So Charlie, red.
The branding worked.
Red jacket, red pants, red shoe, and red hat.
Branding that has
and the album title, I'll never forget the album title.
Killer. Yesterday watching Ken. Nothing they phase out.
You will feel.
Nothing phases him. But publicly.
He
did not look phased at all.
He looked tired.
Like just reading his body language as he sat there with Gabby. Yeah, he looked tired because we all know he's had a few health problems. But outside of that, he did not look phased.
Yeah.
At all. So I'm sure he had this track playing in his head. Ghana for. Parliament wants you out. Your own side wants you out. Opposite side wants you out. They just don't figure out how to get you out. You know. But I remember telling you guys that the confusion over the majority's position on this whole Ken thing. Want him out, and yesterday from reports, it looks like their position has come up again, that they won't do business if it's Ken coming to the house.
Some of the portals are even reporting that they say 98 of them say
if it's Ken coming. Yeah, but you have this opportunity.
Yeah.
Just last week we were on your feet.
They said not this way.
Which way?
The other way. You see, if you're going to if you're going to Ibri, you can either take the N4 or you can take the horrible Berkusu road.
The Asheso side.
So I don't know. Maybe they want to take the Berkusu road instead of the N4.
Look, but doesn't this play into you go through parliamentary procedure? Yeah. I wonder.
But parliament this goes on your record.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
This goes on your record because a lot of things will be said that Parliament is a house of records, as they always say.
Yes.
Everything is kept.
Yeah. Everything.
Okay. So in years to come, a lot of things that were said about you, people can revisit it and read, as compared to, bye, I'm gone.
Yeah. So I do wonder though why he doesn't just say, you know what, there's overwhelming opposition to my continued occupation of the seats. So let me just resign. You know that saying, well, maybe in this case, it might not apply because the saying says, leave when the applause is loudest. But I think the applause kind of waned a while ago.
A couple of years ago.
So, Charlie, why subject yourself to this?
No, but listening to him, though, and just, before we get into what happened yesterday, just trying to understand, I think he's not fazed because he genuinely believes in his strategy.
You see,
whether it's worked or not, and listening to him last week, just to hold it, when they went for when he met the AGI last week, and he spoke, he says, "Look, you have me. I've taken you through all these things. I'm the best person to move us through this phase." Basically, that's what he said. So, as of last week, so in his mind, he's very clear. We heard him during the World Bank or IMF meetings, was it in Washington?
Yeah, in Washington.
As well, where he said the same thing, that look, you have somebody who's taking you through all these things. We've had the president use the same lines as well. Someone who's taking you through the highs, the lows, the whatever. So why am I not the best person to also see you through this? So I think his demeanor is situated based on that self-belief he has in himself, that contrary to what the public thinks, he has really strong beliefs about what he's doing.
Well, I'm sure Boris Johnson had strong beliefs in what he was doing. I'm sure Kwesi Kwarteng had strong beliefs in what he was doing. I don't think there's any shame in resigning from a position when the overwhelming opposition to your continued stay in that role is so deafening, and to the point where you go through a process like this, and there are parts of it that are very unflattering, and I just wonder, is it that he's fighting to maintain some kind of legacy, or his clear his name? I wonder, because I think it would be unfortunate to end his tenure as finance minister with this kind of brouhaha surrounding him. Do you understand? I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, okay, you know what? Let me just step aside. I've done my bit. I've served my country. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity. Let someone else come and take over, hand over to, there are people, he has deputies. There's a whole ministry that is full of civil servants who are technocrats, who are experts in the field. The IMF negotiates with countries and not individuals. So if he's not there, those negotiations should still be able to proceed, from my very late understanding of the way these things work. So I don't know. I just think maybe he'll have more peace if he just goes home and
on his own terms.
On his own terms.
You never know. Maybe it could be a matter of what it would mean to him should he walk. Some people view things very differently. Some people would, how they process things. He might say that walking away somebody might
like a sign of defeat or something.
Probably. You get what I mean. Anyway, let's go to Parliament. And that was where they had the sitting yesterday. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, one of the things he said was that, look, Ghana's economic crisis was not caused by Russia-Ukraine. He says it's down to the mismanagement or the inactions, if you put it that way, from the side of the finance minister. So addressing the committee, the MP, Tamale South MP, said the reckless borrowing and reckless spending by the finance minister were the cause of Ghana's woes. Now, the public hearing of the committee on the censure motion against Mr. Ofori-Atta kicked off on a rough note yesterday morning after clashes between the minority and majority members on the committee on the mode of submission of evidence. So here's a report just detailing everything that happened yesterday on day one of the sitting on the vote of censure against the finance minister.
The 8-member ad hoc committee set up by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagwin, to probe a censure motion against the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, commenced sittings on Tuesday with the proponent of the motion appearing before it. Also in attendance was the Finance Minister and his deputies and his legal representation, Gabi Ochredako. The minority in Parliament during the hearing outlined some documents intended to be relied on as evidence to the allegations leveled against the Finance Minister.
We are strongly arguing that there is an opportunity cost to an expenditure of 23 billion for a banking sector cleanup. If you recall, the Association of Bankers called on Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa at the time and said that some interjection of some liquidity of some amount not exceeding 1 billion, if it at the time, and we'll tender it again tomorrow. Daily Graphic reported this in their front page. They said if we got 500 million, you could save a number of these banks. Now you said no, categorical, that you will not help them with any liquidity intervention. You ended up spending 23 billion in a clean-up, where they said that many of them, if they got a certain modicum of support from government, so instead of spending 23 billion, and people have gone home comfortable with people's savings and investment, that must be of concern to you, Chairman, that you refuse to support those who are in need. Don't forget the families who have died as a result of they being asked to go home because once the bank is not working, mother and child, wife and husband in crisis. So you refuse 500 million, 1 billion to save the life of some of these financial institutions, and you are happily saying that we should celebrate you after spending 23 billion, which you are not prepared to report That's what he's emphasizing on, because this was below the line. So if you left out banking sector expenditure of 23 billion, who should bear the brand for it? Same public, same taxpayer. Those are the contradictions we are pointing out to.
But the legal representation of the Finance Minister, Gabi Ochredako, demanded for specific documents to each allegations for appropriate references and responses.
Since it's a quasi-judicial process, our client deserves fair hearing. Indeed, in the event of matters not going well, he faces potentially the severest punishment that a minister can get, which is removal from office. So all we are asking for are two things. You can give us a whole list of the documents which we don't have physically, but that list will lead to an expedition which is wide, particularly when we have 1 week here. So I think that the first part of our request, which is full particulars of the facts in support of each of the allegations contained in the letter, must be first adhered to.
After submissions from the minority, the legal practitioner challenged the mandate of the ad hoc committee to probe allegations of conflict of interest against the finance minister.
As to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled on it. Our issue is that if you go into Article 284 of the Constitution, and Mr. Chairman, I'm not here to question how Parliament or its committees.
You are here to do your client's bit. Go on with it.
So I just want to make that point. If you read Article 284, with your permission, it says, a public officer shall not put himself in a position where his personal interest conflicts or is likely to conflict with the performance of the functions of his office. Now, if you combine that with Article 287, and if I may read, it says, an allegation that a public officer has contravened or has not complied with a provision of this chapter shall be made to the Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ. And in the case of the Commissioner of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, to the Chief Justice and the rest of it. But a relevant part is that when a public officer is to face any charge or any allegation or any ground of conflict of interest, it is SHRAJ that the Constitution says must deal with it. And if I may carry it a little further, there's a case that I think we're all familiar with, Okujetu Ablakwa number 2, and Attorney General Obechebi Lamte number 2, 2012 Supreme Court report at page 845. And just for the purposes of this, let me just quote. And this was J.S.C. Brobe. The complaint of conflict of interest made by the plaintiffs against public officers or the officials of the Lands Commission and those of the Ministry of Water, Resources, Works and Housing would be dismissed because specific remedy had been provided under Article 287 of the 1992 Constitution, which required complaints of conflict of interest against public officers to be exclusively investigated by the Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and in the case of a complaint against the Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice by the Chief Justice.
So that was a report put together by Ni Ayikwe Okan, just highlighting some of the things that took place yesterday in Parliament as day one of the sittings took place. So effectively, if somebody is wondering what all of this is about, the minority side is saying that we are very unhappy with Ken Ofori-Atta's work as finance minister and we want him removed. Now, what they are doing is to put together a vote, a motion of censure against him. So essentially, they are going to the parliamentary procedure. They are making an argument to say that we don't want Mr. Ofori-Atta to keep his job, and these are our arguments. And so they put it on the floor, and the speaker set up a committee to listen to all these arguments, and then over time a determination will be made. But on top of all of this, Godfrey, correct me if I'm wrong, when they are done, the president has to either give a thumbs up or thumbs down. So whether the president agrees or not. So that's how all of this will technically play out. Yeah. It ends with the president's whatever, the president signing off or saying, okay, whatever.
Which is why there are those who said perhaps we need not have come to this point. The president should simply have acted when it became quite obvious, and it has been quite obvious for some time, I'm sure. For those on the outside, it might have become obvious recently. But for those on the inside, obviously parliamentarians, ministers, those in the higher, in the upper echelons of political play in this country would have known for some time now that there's a disconnect between the party and the minister. And so...
The party and the minister?
Oh, certainly. Okay. That is. But if you have 98 parliamentarians saying they don't work with you, is that not the party? That is the party. Because, you see, a lot of them have entered self-survival phase.
Yes.
And that is party politics at work. Okay. Because at the end, when they are done, they are cutting off links with the minister. That is what they are doing. Okay. So when perhaps they expressed these points at that time, the president perhaps could have acted and saved us going through this entire process, because here we are in the middle of one of the most important negotiations this country has ever been involved in with the IMF, because we do need this looking at our current financial situation. The finance minister of the country is involved in a motion of censure in Parliament, so he has to go through a process. He's fighting his own MPs, who he needs, if indeed he survives this, to pass parts of the budget that will reflect what the IMF plan is anyway. The dynamics are just too many, and it's just too important for the economy as we have it now, for us to have this process. So I'm looking at the president and I'm saying, you could have saved us all this if you had just acted at the time when you realized that maybe my people and this particular minister I have, whom I'm really, really loyal to because of where we've come from and where we are now, they don't get along. You see, and the president's refusal to cut him, is what, like, Ken is like his Edwin Jima. He will go to every AFCON, irrespective of his form. Okay, but his supporters are saying the form ain't good. He's not supposed to be getting selected, but he keeps getting selected and he's captain of the team. So I think he should have realized this a long time ago. And when it comes down to the point Poku has been making constantly about sometimes the inability to read the room. But how do you feel to read your own party and its members? Yeah. For it to get to the point where 98 of your own MPs are saying, yeah, it's okay and all, but this particular person we won't work with. It started from somewhere before it ended up at, we will not work with this person. So why did the president not simply deal with the matter and allow for us to go through this process? I think that is where the problem is, because now that we are here, we have to see this through. Now that we're until next week, perhaps we have
not
to
a touch and go, and you can't truncate the
process. I'm just saying until next week. You understand? Now that we are being told the budget is supposed to be read on the 24th, there are those who have said they don't know whether even that date is accurate. They've been
that's next week.
Yeah, that's next week. There have been mention of, do we actually even have a draft of the budget in place? At what stage is it at? All kinds of speculations are going on. And these speculations, every time we keep getting told the speculation is hurting the economy, it is doing this. Look at what you're doing. What do you want people to do? What else can they do but speculate? Okay, so we could have been saved this if I feel the president had just acted a bit earlier once it became quite clear, and it's been clear for some time, that his people don't like his Edwin Jima.
0549 986 996. That's the text and WhatsApp number. What did you make of the episode in Parliament? We'll try and see if we can get some more clarity, maybe some more understanding to figure out now that we've had day one, what could potentially happen going forward? Because the stories, and if you go to citinewsroom.com, the story is that Kenneth Friata will respond, or he has until Friday, or he says he wants time until Friday to give his response. So, maybe we'll see if we can get some education on what happens next. Okay, so he gives a response, and what follows, How long will this process be? What are the potential outcomes, and what will it mean for really Ghana business going forward?
Well, I think the timelines are clear. The committee was given timelines to work within. So I think they were given a week or so. Yeah, 5 like working days. So they'll go through. That's why yesterday they sat for so long. Because there's quite a lot of things to go through. So I'm sure Friday, when Ken returns also, they'll sit perhaps through almost the entire day to get this work done.
Coming up next is tech and social media trends, and the segment is brought to us by
our friends at Vodafone. Now, for many of us, social connections get us through the day, which is why Vodafone's refreshed Red offers now give you so much value. Get your favorite Red offers on *200# and enjoy longer conversations with friends and families on other networks, and the freedom to purchase bundles for others to keep them connected for longer. Dial *200# today. Vodafone, further together. It's also brought to you by Cal Bank. Shop online or in-store using our range of debit and prepaid cards, Visa, MasterCard, and GH Link. Do everything with Cal Bank. Call 0800 500 500. Cal Bank, forward together.
Daniel Cranting is here, and he has the segment for us. Mr. Cranting.
Nathan.
What's happening?
Katie Hammond is in the trends. Yes, a public hearing on the censure motion against the finance minister, co-chair. And people are not too happy about his conduct yesterday. The thing is that you can't tell if he's serious or he's joking. And that's basically the public sentiment. The constant interjections not allowing the proceedings to flow. People are not too happy about that. Finance minister is also in the trends, Ken Ofori-Atta. Videos circulating on social media. What appears like he's sleeping or he was sleeping. We are not sure. Not in his dreams, so I don't know if he was there or not. But the eyes were closed, or the eyes appeared to be closed, and the head appeared to be swaying a bit. So if you add 1 + 1, you can tell.
Maybe he was just soaking it all in.
Maybe he was.
Yeah, maybe you don't know. And another video also. On social media, the counsel for the finance minister, Gabi Ochudako. Yeah. He said, he was doing style. Do you know what style is?
No style.
When you're in an exam hall, invigilator is working, I want you to see my paper, but doing some stuff. You don't make it too obvious.
Yeah.
Say he was doing things with the phone and turning his head. So people are...
to catch his attention.
He said he was trying to catch Katie Hammond's attention. He was doing things. And I'm not the one who says that. The videos are there, so you can go and watch it and judge for yourself. There's an official Black Star song for the World Cup.
Which one?
Which one is this?
They launched it over the weekend.
Who sang it?
Kentos Music Band.
What?
Kentos Music Band.
Okay, all right, no problem.
All right.
We don't like.
Oh,
we don't like.
Me, I know here, sir.
You still like Weala's own there?
Weala, Kweku Flake. Kudus Day. Bypass that one.
Kudus Day.
They've bypassed that one.
And who launched it?
Kentos. Sports minister was there. Some of the former players were there.
Maybe they went through a process and they picked that one.
They count down 5 for this. We don't like. We'll sing Kweku Flake's own. Jordan, are you ready? Boys, are you ready? That's the one we like.
I see.
In some tech news, Google, they are in trouble. They are going to pay $392 million to settle allegations about how they collect data from users. So what it was is that some people turned off their location tracker, but Google was still tracking the location. They found out and they've had to pay the biggest settlement in US tech history, $392 million. So be careful. If you're important, the fact that you've turned on your location doesn't mean that they'll ask app to track location. You say no. You think they are not tracking?
They are still tracking you.
Google, stop looking at me.
Now, second social media trends brought to us by Cal Bank and Vodafone.
Massa, make what make you go. We need to go to the bank first before we go and pay for the things. Time no day like that too.
Relax. Everything dey in my hand inside.
Massa, we need to get the cash.
Forget the cash. See, transfer, payment. I dey use the Cowbank app. No stress.
That's slow for me. I still forgo my bank. I don't have account for Cowbank.
I say forget the cash. Even without an account at Cowbank, you can download the app, sign up, and connect your mobile money wallet or debit card, and you can make your payments too.
Hey, I just signed up.
Enjoy the convenience, safety, and freedom of the Cowbank app. Whether you have an account with Cowbank or not, all options are open to you, including scan to pay. Download the Cowbank app now. Forget the cash.
Feel like I for just open account for Cowbank.
On the app, no.
Cowbank, forward together.
Cowbank, forward together.
8:11. It's still the City Breakfast Show. Comments are welcome on 0549 986 996. So, like we've been saying, day one of the parliamentary sittings on the motion of censure against the finance minister. It happened yesterday. And if you visit citinewsroom.com, there are several stories just looking at different aspects of what happened. One of the stories captures Okujoto Ablakwa's back and forth with Gabriel Tredako. And then the main story was that the finance minister will present his arguments or respond to some of the things that have been leveled against him on Friday. The committee's turnaround time is quite short. So expect to follow very lengthy sittings because they have a very short time to work through all the things and then get back to the speaker with a report, and then we'll see how it plays out from there. We'll go to some of your comments, but before we even continue with the conversation, Koku has a few things to tell us.
I do. Now let's talk about what GCB is doing for salary account customers in the GCB Gain More promo. At GCB, you stand to gain more. So switch or open a GCB salary account today and gain more. You get up to 300,000 Ghana cedis as a loan at competitive interest rates, and you repay it in 60 months at reduced upfront fees. And you pay no monthly fees for 6 months. Remember, the promo lasts until April 2023. GCB, your bank for life. And in this day and age where rent charges are astronomical, cost of land for building is skyrocketing, and landlords are giving tenants a hard time, owning a decent, affordable home is not a luxury, but a necessity. Ugo Flip is here to make the home ownership journey realistic, fun, and more affordable than you can imagine. It's a real estate gaming company that rewards houses as prizes, and it's 3 easy steps. 1. Log on to www.ugoflip.com. 2. Register with your phone number or email address. And 3. Buy as many tickets as possible. You stand a chance of winning a house at Pram Pram, or weekly game prizes, or one of the many consolation prizes. What makes the Ugo Flips Win Big game unique is that even if you don't win the ultimate prize, which is always a house, Ugo Flip will reward you with loyalty points equivalent to $3 per ticket. When you accumulate these points, you can use them as a down payment toward buying your next home with us or with other affiliated property developers. And people are always searching for convenience, a simple and easy life. And with Pokua, you get just that. Pokua is the virtual assistant from Star Assurance. She gives you the ability to be anywhere and still purchase or renew your motor insurance at any time. From the convenience of your home, office, beach, market, or anywhere in the country, you can reach Pokua. She's here to cater for you. Chat with her today on WhatsApp 0242 436 160 or dial short code star 713 star 222 hash and enjoy a smooth and quick service. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
You can get to us on 0549 986 996. That's the text and WhatsApp number and Telegram number as well. This is the City Breakfast Show. Is 8:14. So like I've been saying, on Friday, the finance minister, he will put up his defense to the minority's push for a vote of censure against him. On Tuesday, they had the first meeting and the first public hearing by the 8-member ad hoc committee. Now, the minister, in a written request prior to the hearing, sought further and better particulars on the grounds for the motion while raising questions over the committee's jurisdiction. So the next time the committee sits, or we'll hear from them, will be Friday, when the finance minister gives or responds and gives his side of the argument. So that's all be happening on Friday. But it's a very interesting democratic exercise. I mean, I don't know if this is the first time this has happened in our history, but this is the first time I am seeing that, a minister's existence, quote unquote, has been thrown to Parliament for a determination as to whether he gets to stay, he gets to leave. Samens has joined us. Samens, good morning.
Morning.
Is this the first time we are seeing this at least in terms
the
of
Fourth Republic?
Okay.
That's the first I can remember in the Fourth Republic. Yes.
Quite interesting. For us as a country, it's interesting. We are going through. We've witnessed all kinds of things. We've had an election petition, 2 of them, and now we've had this. So it looks like the democratic journey. Every now and again, you experience some of these new things.
Yeah.
But your take on what happened yesterday?
So I must first say that I didn't watch the entire thing. So it will be difficult to have a very exhaustive, opinion. Having said that, I think the curiosity is, where would this end? Okay. And I think we all wait to see. But you made a point that as a democratic exercise, it brings a certain degree of reality for future office holders. So if you are given the opportunity to manage a ministry, know that times have changed and is the highest level of accountability that you'll be held to. And for me, that's the part of the exercise that I find interesting or exciting. But the details or the mechanics of it, truth is, I don't have technical, resources to assess. We just watched as things unfolded, and there were high points, there were very low points, there were times that you could feel that even among the people there, they had difficulty in which path to take and all that. So it's all unfolding in our eyes. So we are yet to see how it ends.
We hear from the finance minister on Friday. We wait to see what he will tell us. But like we've indicated, the turnaround time is short for this committee, so they need to sit quickly and then present their reports to the speaker, because it was the speaker who recommended or advised that another committee be set up. So they go through this. So we wait to see how it will play out.
Well, I mean, a turnaround time is short is actually relative, because ordinarily they were expecting to get this done through Parliament, normal parliamentary sessions.
Okay.
So the speaker now says that, okay, hold on, let's set up a committee to deal with some aspects of this and come back to the floor. Okay. With the background that the people who are pushing how do you call them, Krapo?
The proponents.
The proponents have all their documentations intact. Okay, that's the expectation. So if you have, okay, let's give ourselves 1 week. Go and give the person the opportunity to also respond. Okay, maybe the response is what we are yet to see the end of it, because I am not expecting that the finance minister would take everything lying down.
He will certainly give a response.
Exactly.
And try to make an argument.
Yes, and also possibly elevate the status of this process to what he may consider his because there was mention of Shraj in the thing, and so all those options are there to be seen. So I don't see this thing ending on Friday.
Well, we'll see how it goes. But I'm digging through records. It turns out in 1999, there was a vote of censure against the then finance minister, Mr. Kwame Pepra, even though it wasn't successful.
I don't remember. Okay. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I don't remember.
So that's something for us to see. So we'll see if we can get some maybe education on how all of these things will play out. So we'll hear the response on Friday. The other thing that is also happening on the side, it may not be as intense as Parliament, is the Food and Agriculture Ministry. They've been doing their vending, the PFJ Market, and yesterday was day 2 or day 3? Day 2.
So does that mean they didn't sell over the weekend?
I don't think they did. Okay. The ministry wasn't open over the weekend, so I don't think they sold.
Okay.
So they are again, the ministry says it is doing this because food prices are high, and the minister senses, or he believes, or is hypothesizing that it is not down to just demand and supply, other factors jumping in. He says profiteering. So we took our mics and cameras there. We'll get to that report in a second. We'll get there. So we've had a few people visiting. Bernard says he's bought plantain from the place. He's enjoying.
Yesterday I watched the footage on CNN and
they've added a few.
They've added a few more. So yesterday we saw the Ghana Rice Association show up to sell some of their wares, and we're told they're going to do this at some district level as well. From what they're saying, they said they're going to add pepper.
Yes.
As well to this. So the process is ongoing, and we also keep monitoring every day. And I think yesterday at some point, like the market was so good, they ran out of produce at some point.
Yeah.
So
People are patronizing, and it looks like now it's open not just to civil servants. That's because in the first day we were told
they did say it was for
civil servants. Now it's opened up a bit more, so they can expect that the increase in demand would mean that they could run out of things quickly. But let's see again if they're able to sustain supply to meet the demand of people who are coming there. And again, we're still waiting for the breakdown of how much it's costing them to buy the food at the farm gate, to transport it here to Accra. Any markup that they're putting on it for, we just want a few more particulars.
Okay, let's get this report, and then when we come back, we'll dive into it. But this report just paints a picture of how things have played out so far.
The third day of the Planting for Food and Jobs market was quite different. Vegetables were available, as well as bags of rice, as usual, selling at what they describe as cheaper prices. There was mad rush for the local rice, and producers say it was crucial to take this opportunity to promote Ghana rice.
We are also finding avenues to make sure that we are marketing and promoting the Eat Ghana Rice brands. So we took the opportunity at this stage to make sure that other brands are also on this market for people to buy. That's why we are here. Compared to what you get out there, this is way cheaper than what you get out there. That's why we are here, to make sure that people get a taste of Ghana rice and how it has been improved and with the standards and good quality. That's why we are here.
Okay, so how much does a bag of rice go for?
Oh, it depends on the brand that you want to buy, but it ranges from 350 to 320 or 370 or so. As you know, the ministry said it's a pilot program. So we wanted to be part of it to see how we can find avenues, marketing avenues for various Ghana rice brands. So that's why we are here, as I said earlier. But subsequently, we are trying to fix the Ghana rice stores around various places where people can get easy access to Ghana rice at affordable prices.
Some customers continued to express excitement with the addition of new items to the PFJ market.
Came to buy a sack of yam, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the price was really, really cheap. I got like 3 for 10 cedis and then 2 for 10 cedis. So I bought 60 cedis in all, making 14 pieces.
60 cedis?
Yes, please. And then I got 14 tubers of yam.
What else did you get?
I came to buy vegetables too.
Okay, so just show me how much you bought.
Okay, so I bought 1 cabbage, carrots, 10 cedis.
10 Ghana cedis for all of these?
Yes, please.
And then you bought cabbage.
Cabbage too, yeah, 10 cedis.
I see. So it means that it's better off coming here than going to the regular market.
Yeah. And then the prices here are really cool. I also came for plantain, but they said some is not around.
Yes,
I'll come back on Thursday for the plantain too.
More shop.
Yes.
However, others were disappointed that they didn't get their share of the foodstuffs, as they were all sold in no time.
But men all the time and near Koye. Agbene when my predica market, I make a watch on Jam, you not to Monsoon, at our area where you're not near. I abajaba she all the time. I make a hair short. She near Bomo Walani. Come on, what watch on it on Waba now, be honest, and what watch on it. In your soup.
Wow. I reduce prices now home. Mini Jojo.
Oh, and now, she quite a market, cutthroat. And now what? Oh, near, she now what? Oh, na, ne, I'm a home on your shame. Kashi. I'm a home, I hate Lodger Wallet. The petrol attitude, you know, bow now. I come up on your booby. Ni blomo yan. Ni be. No, by any disappointed.
Meanwhile, the ministry says it is hopeful of stocking the market with variety of foodstuffs on a daily basis to serve everyone.
We told you that these things have not only been set up, but we are also expecting some ripple effects. Today we came here this morning and saw a pack of vegetables right here. And these vegetables are not just vegetables. These are very safe, healthy vegetables from greenhouse production, which is one of our initiatives under the Planting for Food and Jobs. So now you have vegetables, you have, you have cabbage, you have green pepper, you have carrots, you have lettuce and onion going for as low as 5 cedis. You have experienced this yourself. So that is what we are doing right now. Who knows, maybe tomorrow or tomorrow next, we could have other portfolios of products. No, you see, even the producers and the suppliers are now reaching out, telling us that, look, this is a very fine initiative, and they would want to be part of it.
Reporting for Citi News, my name is Akusia Otre.
So that was Akosi Otre's report from day 3 of the PFJ market, day 3 of the PFJ market. And like you heard, the slight twist is that now people are trooping there. The food is getting finished. You listen to the old woman who said, I'm here, I have money, but I can't buy, and all of that. So we wait to see. We'll see how day 4 plays out. We wait to see what the ministry will do, because, of course, once it's been advertised, the demand or the supply, the demand will go up. So supply certainly has to meet demand for everybody to be satisfied. So that's what's happening. Sometimes your thoughts, day 3. So we've done 3 days of the PFJ market, and yesterday the food ran out. So maybe this morning they'll send some more. I don't know.
Okay. I actually don't know what it's all about. Trust me.
You don't know what it's all about?
No, I don't.
The PFJ market?
I don't even understand what that means. I don't understand what it means. So what the Agric Ministry is trying to...
Yes, says it's moving food from the farm gate to the urban centers.
At which cost? Which cost? With which budget?
That we are yet
Who
to
is
find out.
taking care of the transportation? Are they buying fuel from a different place, which is lower than what the ordinary market person will buy? What's the bigger picture?
Well,
what's the end game?
Well, the minister is saying he's doing this. 2 things really. 2 things I can glean. One is that, of course, to make food accessible. 2,
but you
to make
can't make food accessible to a group of civil servants in Accra and then conclude that I have made food accessible to Ghanaians. I mean, that sounds like a joke. The fact that, I mean, this takes me back to 1983, where we had PDC people, CDR people putting food in some kiosk and people queuing to go. Yesterday there was a queue there and people ran out, and that's what we're talking about. And the issue is, we say there's a problem with the supply chain.
Yes.
We didn't say there's a problem with the food itself. We also have made this point abundantly clear that the transporting food from farm gate to consumer is the problem. Obviously, in every space, agri supply chain space and value chain space, you have people who will take advantage of the space, middlemen. In every country, they are there. Now, if you are able to plug in the gaps, which gaps people take advantage of, gaps that are created through transportation, gaps that are created through access to farms, access to markets. If we can plug these gaps, half of the problem is solved. Maybe as a stopgap measure, you can say that there is this group of people who are disadvantaged by this problem, so we will cut food products to do the short-term solution. But in the long term, this will not see the light of day unless we are upgrading it into the national food distribution structure, where this whole process is given an institutionalized structure.
Okay.
Again, where it finds its way to the regions and to the districts. Okay? Because that is where farm gates can come closer to the markets. So all they are doing is creating new markets. Fine, fair enough. What they end up also doing is dislocating the market women whose job it has been to transport goods from farms to the markets. It's more complex than we are making this thing look.
Okay.
If they indeed want to use that to replace the system that we have, then we have a long way to go.
We'll get more thoughts from around the table, but let's do your money now. Your money is brought to you by CBG. CBG, we stand with you. And Koku has the segment for us this morning.
You know, in these tough times where we're all trying to save a bit of money, you may be tempted to purchase things that are cheaper, but they may be of lower quality. So, but just keep in mind that in the long run, what do you want? You want something that will sustain you. You want something that you won't have to replace in a short period of time. So it may just be worth it to spend a little more money, but then to get better quality. Okay, so as you go about procuring things, buying things, whether it's building materials for your house, whether it's even food for your home, cheaper is not necessarily better. Yes, we all want to save a bit of money, but think about good quality, something that will last you longer, something that won't harm you. And in the long run, I think that actually saves you more money, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does.
So a word to the wise, shop wisely.
Okay.
Spend a little bit more, get better quality.
All right. Quality that lasts.
Quality that
save
lasts.
you money in the long term.
I think so.
That was your money. Your money brought to you by CBG. CBG, we stand with you.
A bank that supports you, a bank that cares for you. Hand in hand, we stand with you. So lift your head up, big dreams are waiting. We'll walk with you wherever you go. Where all your dreams are alive, CBG will make you smile. No matter what, we will rise with you. Your business will flourish, your name will stand out. Consolidated Bank, CBG, we stand with you.
Join the conversation on the City Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
Breakfast Show. Your comments are welcome on 0549 986 996. So we've been talking about the motion of censure against the finance minister and day 3 of the PFJ market. Have you been there? Have you been to the market? If you are listening to us and you've been there, you can share your experience. How did it go? Did you get some of the food to buy? How was it? Was the price as low and as inexpensive as we are made to believe? And if you haven't been there, will you go? What are you waiting for? 0549 986 996.
Nathan, I'm not so sure whether this angle gives us any new revelation. Definitely, it will be cheaper.
Okay.
Which staff are they using to do this work? Aren't they supposed to be ministry staff?
Yes.
You're not paying for labor. The vehicles that move up
They are
and down,
ministry vehicles.
except the big trucks, they are all ministry vehicles. What we are saying is that it's a model that cannot be sustained. Yes, in the short term, it will bring food to some people, but as a policy initiative, this thing cannot be sustained. And one day we'll wake up and we'll hear how much it cost us to do this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that we can't just take it lying down that they have brought food. As for the food, if you bring free food, people will chop. COVID time, they brought free food. People chop the food after they insulted the government. Because the food stopped coming. The thing is that you can sustain it. And I don't need the Agric minister to agree with me that we can't sustain it, because we know that it cannot be sustained.
Even if you work the numbers, it's tough. Sustaining this requires a lot of money.
And you are doing a thing in Accra and you say you've solved some problem. You haven't solved any problem. You have only told us that, okay, with this initial effort, these are the outcomes. And so people in the short term... But the problem is bigger than what you are doing. The problem is that on the supply chain, there are different actors, and each of them is facing a particular problem. Some, indeed, of the problems are not Agric-related problems, like transportation, fuel, okay? But they feed into the supply chain. Look, this gentleman who says that he used to bring rice, 3 months ago, bringing 50 tons of rice by big trucks cost him 14,000 Tamale to Tema. Today, he pays 60,000 for the same thing. And you say what? He's profiteering?
Yeah. You can't, because his cost even of transportation is gonna 4 times and over.
Because as for you, you still pay 14,000 for transportation. So it means that yours is a better business model. It doesn't work like that. By now, I would be expecting that the ministry or its agents are meeting constantly with transporters, are having a conversation with the transportation minister, because the problem is a transportation problem. Where is the transportation minister? You understand? And the haulage trucks and that part of the industry, what conversations are we having with them? But to say that I'll prove to you that I can also do your work, I mean, it's not a serious. It's not. I don't consider it serious. And there's a lot we can do beyond just doing this stopgap measure and showcasing it to the whole world that we have solved the problem. Truth is, we have not solved any problem, because the problem is a transportation problem. The problems that we are seeing are not all of them are problems caused by the Agric ministry.
Not at all.
But the effect is being felt.
So things happening in other places. You mentioned fuel, for example. That is not an Agric thing.
Yes.
It's beyond them. Roads, for example, transportation.
It would be interesting to know whether, even in this short period that the PFJ market has been going on, has there been any correlating change in prices in our other markets? Have our market women responded? Do we know if, even for just this short period, has there been any change in price at the market? For people who are going to markets, have you noticed anything? Have prices reduced? What are market women saying about this? Are they unfazed? Are they saying, well, he can do this or they can do this in the interim, but we cannot reduce our costs? Because as Saman said, the other factors that go into our pricing,
They haven't changed.
they haven't changed. So we cannot drastically reduce our prices in response to this. Or are they looking at this and saying, oh, well, maybe while this is going on, let's see if we can also adjust a bit to accommodate our customers. Is it affecting them at all? Are they seeing a decline in patronage? Because some people are going to PFJ markets to buy their foodstuffs. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see how the other market or the markets proper are responding to PFJ markets so far. I mean, it's only 2 or 3 days old, but you
are just playing the devil's advocate.
Oh, Papa.
The devil doesn't look good on you. Let's not try, please. I mean, look, the cost of inputs, the cost of Agric inputs. We can't just jump the gun and then say, hey, we have not solved anything. Look at the rising cost of inputs, the rising cost of fertilizer. People have supplies fertilizer, they have not been paid.
And we are talking huge sums of money, thousands into millions of
cedis. The whole process of production, growing crops here, the challenges with labor and all the things that we are seeing in the chain. So I'm just saying that if you even the processing, packaging, big problem.
And
storage, distribution,
the crops on the farm, the cost of medicines,
that's the point I'm saying. So if you go storage distribution, you come to the markets. See, you have all these brokers, you have these supermarkets, you have these international chains in Ghana who bring their own produce from their mother country. You know, so we have not scratched the surface. If they would take the thing, and if I go to game, what's the ShopRite, and I'll see the produce that they say they are giving in the chain at the price that they say they are selling, then I know that we are hitting somewhere. If you want to play the game, don't bypass the system and reinvent it, because you can't do it. Look, these market queens, they are strong people. You can't just write them off. But now we should be engaging the market queens. Look, they are also guilty. That one we have to say it. They are also guilty. But somebody should be having a conversation with them. Somebody should be, because they determine prices at times arbitrarily.
Because sometimes, Godfrey, like you've highlighted, they also fund the farmers. So clearly, if their money is...
Did you say sometimes?
Once their money is involved...
last week, we went to Adesso. I was there. And we were there with the Garden X people. And they said, but the people from Accra, they give us the money to do our harvesting. And you say what? You are sitting there saying that we should come and give it to you. No. So I'm saying that the Agric ministry is biting more than they can chew. They are biting more than they can chew. We will have this conversation 1 year from now.
Oh, not 1 year, it's too far. We'll have this conversation in February. All right, I said it yesterday, we'll have this conversation in February.
1 year from now.
The reason why this upsets me, and sometimes it makes it almost sound like, well, this is temporary relief. Why are you against temporary relief? And I've said this yesterday. Nobody's against the temporary relief. But you see, we've come too far as a country, and we know too much, and we've experienced too many things to be moved by some of these strategies whose purposes we know. I'll make another prediction. This strategy, when the Agric minister declares to run for president, which he will, this is going to be a key component of his campaign messaging. Whether you like it or not, it is what is going to happen. That at the heat
that he went to bring food.
I'm telling you. Sabens, calm down.
Stop that.
No, Sabens, we won't stop that. You see, because I took time. You know why I'm telling this? Because I took time to listen to when he went to Censure also.
Yeah.
The whole
thing.
Whole thing. And when you played that audio that week, I told you why I asked you. I think Sabens was here. Was he campaigning? So when I went back, I went to listen. You see, the solutions that have been put here, and I have checked with, and they are not in a place to say it, so sometimes it becomes difficult. Some of the people at the ministry themselves are wondering what is going on. The questions you have asked about the money, they are asking, which budget is this? Which one is this? I'm reading. I can read you messages from people within the chain who are saying, "Look, this is outside the scope of our budget."
So clearly, this is not in tandem.
Another one says the funding for this is sketchy.
Yeah, but the point is that where in the world would this happen? That the ministry now says that the ministry, I'm also selling.
You see,
to prove to you that you are profiteering.
And I'm saying the reason why this is even more important is to even prove the profiteering. Like Samen said, and I said this yesterday, you have to come and explain. You've skipped a lot of steps along the chain to come and tell us your food is cheaper. Do everything that the farmers do at the same cost, and then tell us that yours, when you were done with everything, it cost X amount, and you are selling at this amount. But you realize that the farmers, when they do the same thing, sell at that amount. So they are doing excessive profiteering. You found a way to put the food there, telling people that, people are profiteering, come and buy, the food is cheap. You make the farmer, the traders look bad and all. Like I said, they are also guilty, no issues there. But how have you solved the problem with this? Knowing that, I said it, February, March, you hand us a bill in some way. that, well, I brought you the food when you didn't have food, but now it's time to pay. Because in this economy that we are in right now, where there's no money, you will find a way of billing us for this either way. Okay, so I would prefer a properly thought through solution, long term, that solves some of the problems. The interagency collaborations that we are talking about, the conversation with Transport Ministry and whatnot.
Conversation with market people.
Exactly. That is where I should have even started from. That is the other way. You would not have started day one with pickups and a truck or two. And one of our, listeners asked the question yesterday: how are you solving a food crisis for 2.6 million? He lives in Accra, so he's for 2.6 million people selling food at the car park of the Agric Ministry. 2.6 million people are struggling with food prices in Accra. Let's say it's an Accra problem. 2.6 million. The car park of the Agric Ministry is where you solve that problem.
No, it says pilot.
No, but even in the pilot, let's look at the traffic numbers. Yes. How many people do you think will go through that cycle?
It's pilot.
Okay. How many people will go through that cycle?
Sale.
On the surface, it looks okay. Yeah. I'm going to buy food. It doesn't. But I'm saying that, look, we need to get beyond some of these populist tactics, and let's call them out for what they are. They are populist tactics, and the reason why I get upset by this is we also, as consumers, we tend to ride with the populism because, as I said, who doesn't like free things, cheap things? Oh, yeah. You understand? So we will go and get it. But in doing that, we forget the pain. In a week or two, we are still back at our original market. You are back at your Malata. You are back at your Medina market. You are back at your Dansuma and Control market. You are back at whichever market you purchase at. And you are buying at the same high prices that you complained about. You had temporary relief for a week. Why not let us chase a permanent solution?
Sally, you know what? Yes, I was just thinking through this and I'm like, okay, so the teachers went on strike and we're not teaching. So one day, education minister comes and brings his former students and said that, Charlie, we are teaching ourselves. Go and teach. We are teaching ourselves to prove to you that we can teach. I mean, that's how oversimplified we have made this And trust me, the market, and read my lips, the market woman will win this battle.
Is it even a battle? Is it even a battle in the first place? It's like, because the question I kept asking,
instead of resourcing them, facilitating their business, and pushing supply, which naturally will bring down,
you will bring prices down.
The price, no. You say you are also doing what they are doing.
Competing with them.
Eventually, it will displace them. Some people say we are being pessimistic. I'm sorry. I am not a counselor, and I'm not here to counsel anybody. We're just sharing opinions. It's being pessimistic. How it borders in a space of faith and hope. I'm saying that even faith, crap, what they say is the substance of things hoped for. So you can hope for things in a hollow space if there's no substance. And we are saying that we are questioning the substance of the effort. That this effort, well meant, but stops short at solving the problem that is confronting us. That's all we are saying. And we said it last week. We are saying it this week. Next week, we'll say the same thing.
You see, and the basic question, he was at Adeso, where the
garden eggs
are being funded. And we know the other people who are being funded by it. So the next planting season, is the Agric Ministry going to fund?
Which money?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like which money? The thing is bigger than that. It's bigger than that.
You haven't solved any problem.
I kept asking, when I first heard the question that I kept asking myself, okay, are you traveling on the same road? Are you burning the same fuel? You are also getting vehicles. Look, even if the fuel is even subsidized for the ministry, you are still, once you
know the volume of fuel you have to consume
to move
that kind of food.
I said, wait for next Auditor General's report.
See, I'm saying that. We have recalibrated the problem to a bite size, and we are munching the thing. And
meanwhile, there's a bigger chunk.
There's a bigger chunk sitting somewhere. Charlie, do you know how much of farm produce is getting rotten as we speak now?
60% of the food we produce doesn't get to us.
So they are saying that they are now bringing the 60%, what you see, does it look like even 2%? Because we don't have the capacity. The ministry is not set up to sell food directly to anybody.
That's not his core job. It's not
for
designed
policy
to do it.
and engaging the players, facilitating their businesses, giving them more, if you like, what's the word? Better ways of achieving their results. And then in the longer term, or ultimately, giving the consumer a better bargain. Okay. Now, you can't skip everything and go and get produce. I won't be surprised if one day some of these farmers come and say that they came to take our produce. They haven't paid yet. Oh, it is coming. I won't be surprised. And I'm not accusing them that they've done that. I said I will not be surprised. And then there are people who say, oh, they sit in the studio, they don't know what they don't know what they are about. We know what we are about. We studied Agric, not at PhD level, but enough to appreciate if something is good or not going well. So, as for this one, the Agric ministry has to come again and make sure that we facilitate the activities of the entire supply chain and the value chain. Because you are bypassing the system to create a subunit and then tout your success. You can't do that because there's the unknown farmer in Kintampo, the unknown farmer in Kede, who is harvesting his palm fruits and not getting transport into Accra.
Has nowhere to store it.
Has nowhere to store it. Okay, there are insects chewing some people's maize and rice. I'm saying that it's a complex problem that we can't just do what we are doing in 3 days and say that we've solved it. We haven't solved anything.
So listening to the City Breakfast Show, your comments are welcome on 0549986996. We'll go through a few of them, but let's get to the line. Let us speak to Yao Edupoku. Yao Edupoku he's a rice farmer and he's chairman of the Competitive African Rice Platform. And we'll get his thoughts and just try to understand a few things about how his chain operates, and we'll try and juxtapose that to.
He is the one who says his thing has changed from 14 to 60,000. Ask him. He's the one.
Mr. Edupoku, good morning. Welcome to the City Breakfast Show.
Good morning, sir.
I trust your word this morning, sir.
Actually, I'm just rushing to the airport on rice matter in Tanzania.
Wow, on rice matters in Tanzania.
Yeah, Africa wants to take our food security serious. And so we are coordinating across the continent.
Okay.
Especially on rice, because it has become the number one staple in Africa.
Okay.
So we are looking at how to make it work this time.
Great. Won't take too much of your time. Can you just clarify? I've read quotes attributed to you on your cost of transportation when you move rice from Tamale to Tema. Can you just clarify that and just let us know, or for listeners to know, how much exactly you spend on moving rice from Tamale to Tema?
Let's say last July, I was paying for a 50-ton truck, 14,000 Ghana cedi. That is the 50 kg bag, 1,000 of that.
So 1,050 kg bags?
Yeah, on an articulator truck, which is 1,000 kg, 1,000 bags times 50 kg. So I was paying at least 14 cedis per 50 kg.
Okay.
That was last June, July. Today, this morning, I am contracting 2 articulator trucks, each taking 50 tons. And I am paying 60 cedis, 60 cedis per 50 kg. So it comes to 60,000 cedis moving from Tamale to Accra.
The same quantity over the same distance, but between July and now, your cost has gone up.
Nothing has changed, except the price had moved fourfold, 14,000 to 60,000 cedis. This morning, I just finished negotiating with the transporter.
Mr. Edupoku, for somebody who's listening and will struggle to understand why this has happened. Can you just explain why your costs have jumped from 14,000 to 60,000 for those who may not understand what exactly is going on?
My right of a situation that has caught us up, and we are all trying to find solutions to it. But the truth is that the solution is not there. The reason is this: fuel has jumped up. When the pump price goes down, the transporter will not go down. And then the dollar has also gone up. So when these two things clash, we, the ones who deal in them, suffers. And that is what is happening now. Let me tell you this. I am buying from the farm gate, right? I'm buying from the farm gate 3,200 cedis for a ton of paddy. That is the raw material.
Okay.
Just last week. This week, I am paying 4,800. The same farm. I have been moved from that farm. So the difference now is 1,600 on the raw material.
Okay.
And then I am paying in excess of 44,000 cedis for transport. So all this comes together and then makes it exorbitant. As I'm talking to you, last week I sold rice to a distributor, right, at 500 cedis for the 50 kg. This week, I'm selling that same 500 kg at 700 cedis. And I told them yesterday that 700. This morning it's gone to 750. This is the reality on the ground.
So essentially, for somebody like you and for several of your other colleagues, rice will sell at 750 not because you are profiteering, but just that the various factors have come together to push you to sell the rice at this price. Not so,
boss. I invest not less than 6,000 cedis on a ton from farm gate to the retail level. 6,000 cedis. My margin is not 200 cedis. So check, what is the percentage? And so if someone talk about profiteering, then I beg to differ. 6,000 cedis and you make 200 cedis over a period of about 2 weeks. What sort of business is that? It's the passion. The passion and then can do. Let's get it done. That is what is driving us. It's not the profiteering. We are not making money out of it. In fact, this morning I had to even renegotiate on my price. But the fellow has to bring it to the market.
Okay.
And they cannot even put a price on it because it's very fluid. So we are caught in a vice. We are caught in a vice. All of us.
Okay. Mr. Dopoko, just finally, I don't know if you've heard of the PFJ Market at the Ministry. If you have, your thoughts on the Ministry deciding to jump in and haul food from the farm gate to its premises to sell at very reduced prices. Your thoughts on this? Do you think that it's a visible thing to do? Do you think it's a wise thing to do?
Last Saturday on Newsfile, I told the audience that the minister is trying to send a message across. The whole point is that the minister said it's a pilot project. He did not say it is coming to stay. But if the pilot proves successful, then why not? But cast your mind back. I was then living 1974. In the 70s, we have Food Distribution Corporation. Is that what we are looking at? So to me, it's a surgical operation. The minister wants us to know that, yes, food is available in the hinterlands.
Okay.
And coming to Accra is the issue. So it is not the market woman, nor the aggregator. It is all of us caught in this situation that we cannot, put our fingers on. That is what is making things. I just gave you two examples.
Yeah. That
the farm gate price has increased, so is the transportation. And then when it comes to Accra, you are making not even 1%, maximum maybe 0.8%. Max, that is what we make. And the market will maybe suffer more. So it is not to do with it. But the minister is trying to show that, yes, food is available. getting it to Accra is an issue. What we need to do is that we should isolate it and make it a pilot project, and then think around it. How do we get food to the urban areas where it's needed? It is not only the ministries who eat. All of us eat. So how do we make it possible for all of us to eat? We need to go back and rethink. That is the problem we are facing. The leadership is not giving what makes us call them leaders. We should be thinking outside the box. What will make food affordable is that when the farmer is well resourced, then food will be more, affordable. When the value chain is more resourced, then food will be available. This is what we have to do. In fact, I'm on my way to Tanzania to see their success story.
I see.
How come Tanzania is producing 2 million metric tons per annum? And how come their local rice is 90% consumed in Tanzania and only 10% is imported, whilst in Ghana is the reverse? We want to see what happened, and then we will bring our findings to the government, because at the end of the day, the government now has to make decisions which are far-reaching. The current situation where we have leadership, but it is not trickling to the ground, it's not working. It is absolutely not working. We need to sit down and see why, for example, Akuse, we grow rice at the irrigation project. Why are we not making 8 tons and we are still making 5 tons? There is a deficit there. Is it from the research or is it from the agronomic practices? These are the things we need to look at. And then we will be able to push the same acreage up. And that will bring more rice into the system. And not only rice, maize, bordier, plantain, and beans, all of them. So we need to sit down and look at it properly. Instead of every year going for budget reading and then Agric is giving X amount, and then we don't see the effect trickling down to you and I. It means that something is actually wrong. And we need to revisit and check why is it happening that way. You go to the road sector. We see road construction. We've seen the Tier 4, what do we call it?
Interchange.
Interchange. We see it. In the agriculture sector, we've seen certain things. No, we are not. But Agric is also very, very important. Now look at what is happening. The government brought this very beautiful, laudable idea of school feeding and free education. We are all recipients of this free education. Our children and our grandchildren are enjoying it. Now, school feeding, what is happening? We are imported to feed our children. How come we are important? Whilst even here, where Kokomlemle, where you are, you can grow rice. So why should we import to feed the children? It means something is fundamentally wrong. And those are the things we need to be checking out. Whatever the government is doing, it should be homegrown. There's no way government should change dollar to go and buy mackerel to feed the children. It means that there's a failure, somewhere, and we need to check it out.
Okay.
Ghana does not produce mackerel. So where do we get the mackerel to feed the school children? Check that story out. Then you will see that this is why our dollar is going up and up and up. But we can do better. We can get you and I to go into fish farming so that the children will get the protein they're looking at.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And have a safe trip to Tanzania. That was Yao Edupoku. He's a farmer and chairman of the Competitive African Rice Platform. Interesting.
The man says he's going to Tanzania
to go and see
what the people are doing so that he will advise government. Mm-hmm. Is it to say that government doesn't know what is happening in Tanzania?
I'm sure government knows.
The other day, didn't one of our ex-MPs go to Nigeria to also advise Nigeria on how to do the thing? We know what to do and how to do. The big thing is an inertia that we need to break. That go and effect the action and make things happen. We have led rice, local rice or Ghana Rice campaign right from this studio before. What happened to it? The politicians took over and messed it up. They took over. Hey, we have done. You didn't do it, It's the media that did it. It was a promotional effort led by the media, which also fits into your policy framework. Fair enough. Now, when the media withdrew, the thing got shipwrecked. And you couldn't even figure it out. What we are saying is that we should be humble enough to deal with the players of the industry. I think Mr. Edupoko has captured everything fair and square. But I'm just saying that he goes to Tanzania, comes back. What if there's nothing new Tanzania is doing that we don't know already? I'm telling you. There's nothing new. Go to the Volta region. There are rice farmers there. Who is facilitating? How are we making sure that they are increasing their yield? How are we making sure that they are increasing the frequency of harvest? Go to the Western region. Go to the Bono region. All these places, rice, maize, cassava. Okay? There's which part of Ghana can't we grow cassava? Tell me.
Every part.
Every region in Ghana can grow cassava. And cassava has a market here and outside. We can't shortcut and compromise our effort at industrializing the space so that we can institutionalize the process of increasing our yields. You understand? That should be the target. It's not we will sell some so that people will see. It doesn't solve anybody's problem.
Before Nathan says, somebody said I should ask the minister two questions. Before he says, are they paying taxes to the city authorities for selling, just as the market women do? He wants to know. 1. He says 2, are they incurring cost for the space they are using to trade, just as the market women pay rent or maintain where they sell? As for the last one, the semester already asked the question. Are they using their staff who are already on payroll, or they've gone to hire new people?
It's so difficult. Look, people are in livestock farming. Okay? Piggery, so and so and so and so. They are not seeing top. What's the proper English expression for that?
They are not seeing top.
We understand. People are not seeing top. The ministry, let's help them, facilitate, strengthen them, institutionalize the processes. But running parallel markets, small markets, and then creating media is working well. Papa.
But as the pork prices go up, no, they didn't bring some of the pork there.
So listen to the Citi Breakfast Show. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we have more for you. But Selfline is saying that some people enjoy coaching their football teams from the comfort of their couch. Others love to visit Paris on their phone and see the sweet-smelling perfume shops. And Selfline knows this, so they are giving you fast data. Get yourself a Selfline device and enjoy goodies from Selfline partners like X-Men, Cheesy Pizza, Doman Foods, and Body Basics. Top up or get a Selfline device today to enjoy all of this. Selfline, better together. Real Pedigree recognizes its kind. The star has found its new home. At CFA Ghana, your preferred automobile company present in Ghana for 113 years, and they are the new sole authorized distributor for Mercedes-Benz cars in Ghana. You can call them on 0302 742 100 or 020 222 1406 for more info. And if you're an enterprise customer, be happy, and you need to also enjoy some of the fans. Enterprise is heavy, and it did very, very well. It's heavy on the Ghana Club 100. 4 of its subsidiaries are there. Enterprise Insurance, Enterprise Life, Enterprise Trustees, and Acacia. And at the CIMG Awards, the recent one, Enterprise Life was retained in the CIMG Hall of Fame for the 6th straight time. And Enterprise is dedicating all these awards to their valued customers. Dream big with us. Enterprise is your advantage. So listen to the Citi Breakfast Show. When we come back, we've got more for you. Please don't go anywhere.
In 1957, the Gold Coast gained political independence from Great Britain after approximately 80
Citi973 and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Welcome back. This is still the City Breakfast Show. Your messages are welcome on 0549 986 996. We'll try and go through a good number of them before we call it a morning. But let's have a chat about the Venture Capital Trust Fund. Venture Capital Trust Fund. We've been joined by Mr. Yao Owusu Brimpong. He's CEO of the Venture Capital Trust Fund. And he will answer all our questions on what it is they do, that kind of thing, and what they are doing, or some of the latest things they are involved in. And we'll get some clarity. I've always wondered what it is the Venture Capital Trust Fund does. And Koku, it looks like we have somebody here to explain to us. Good morning. We have Yao Owusu Brimpong here. He's the CEO. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good, and you?
We are fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I like to always start from the basics. So let's start off from what the Venture Capital Trust Fund does. Every now and again, you find a mention of it in the media, a news story here, a news story there. But what exactly do you do? Why are you in existence? And what do you hope to achieve through your work?
Okay, thank you, my brother. And good morning to your cherished listeners, and good morning to staff and management and board of Venture Capital Trust Fund. Venture Capital Trust Fund, we were set up by an Act of Parliament, Act 680 in 2004, and we have two clear mandates. Our first mandate is to provide funding to SMEs, small and medium enterprises in the country. Now, SMEs happen to be the backbone of the Ghanaian economy, and yet one of the major problems they face is access to funding. One would say the banks are there. Why venture capital? The banks are what we refer to as the traditional source of funding to businesses. But the SMEs in particular, they struggle to access funding from the banks. One, the banks will require collateral, they may not have it. Interest may be high, which may be too expensive for them. And then most of them are startup, they may not have any records to prove to the banks. So these are the areas, these are the problems with the SMEs. And then venture capital actually was set up to provide funding through venture capital finance companies to solve these problems. And then the second mandate is to develop the venture capital industry, because if you go to Europe, if you go to America, most businesses are now financed by venture capitalists. Google, Uber were all financed by venture capitalists, and they are now doing well in their various businesses.
Interesting. So, now that you've laid that background for us, can you just tell us why venture capital and private equity funding is important? Why should we have this conversation? Why should we pay more attention to it as a country?
Okay. Let me start by even giving a basic definition of what venture capital itself is. It's just a kind of financing to businesses by investors and other financial institutions to business SMEs or small businesses and startups, new businesses that have growth potential. So the target is new businesses that have growth potential. And what is the advantage in probably using venture capital financing? One, we call it patient capital.
Patient
capital. Because it's long-term equity. When a loan, and I can only bring out the meaning clearly when I compare with taking a loan from a bank. If you take a loan from a bank, maximum the following month, you have to start repayment of both capital and interest. When a venture capital gives you money, it can even be 10 years. He will not take the money back. He will wait for you to grow the business, because he's not giving you a loan. Mainly, venture capitalists finance you by way of giving you equity.
Okay.
And that gives you enough time to grow, nurture the business when the business is doing well. And they are not permanent shareholders. They are not permanent equity holders. When they sign agreement with you, they have what we call exit strategy or exit plan. At a point in time, they will move out, and then the company becomes the full ownership of the promoter, or they can even release it on the stock market. And so it's patient capital. It gives you enough time to actually grow your business. No immediate cash outflows. When you take a loan, I mean, just similar to what I said, this is patient. When you take a loan, I mean, a month or two, banks can give you maximum probably 3 months moratorium, but then with venture capital money, you have time to grow the business and then pay. No interest. Because it's not a loan, there is no interest. But then there is capital gains. The venture capital takes its money at the end of the period by way of appreciation. Let me give numbers to explain. Let's say you have a business, okay, and then you actually need 100. You have 100,000. You are setting up a business, but you need 200,000. So you provide 100. The venture capitalist come in. He provides you additional 100. You not pay any interest on his 100,000. Let's say in 5 years' time, the two of you have worked together to grow the business, and then the business is now worth, let's say, 400,000 Ghana cedis. The two of you have come together to grow the business from 200 to 400. So at that point, if the promoter have enough money to take full ownership, the company is valued by an independent valuer. Okay. And out of the 400, because he has 50% share in the business originally, then you pay him 200 and then he goes away. So his capital gain or his capital has appreciated from 100 to 200. And the businessman, your capital has also appreciated from 100 to 200. Okay. The fourth advantage of using venture capital financing is that venture capitalist doesn't just give you money and then stay away and then wait for you to come and pay the money. They actually provide guidance, expert advice, and then consultancy services, because they are growing the business with you. So where you lack some services, some management skills, they will actually help you. On quarterly basis, they will be taking a statement or financial statement from you, advice, even when it comes to recruitment, anything that will actually help the business grow. They will be there for you throughout the period that they are financing you. And then last but not the least, because he is taking an equity in your business, because it's not a loan, you win together or you succeed together and then you fail together. If you take money from a bank, whether the business does well, whether the business collapses or not, the bank will still be chasing you for their money. They don't care. They are interested in their principal and their interest. When a venture capitalist finance you, because it's partnership in a way, if the business does well, you split on basis of your equity or on the basis of how much you put into the business. If the business fails, both of you go away, and then there is no obligation on the businessman to actually repay because the business has failed. So these are the advantages of benefits of using venture capital money as compared to the traditional source of money, which is mainly loans from banks and other financial institutions.
Okay. So for venture capital trust fund, what do you look out for in fund managers?
The way venture capital trust fund was set up, we work as a fund of fund. Okay. Because we are a government institution, and quite often people come to you and say, oh, we need money from you. Yesterday, I said it somewhere that Ghanaians, our attitude to government money is completely different from private money. So government of Ghana had this in mind when it was setting up venture capital. And so we work as a fund of fund. What it means is that we do not give money directly to individual companies, Akosia Mansa Limited or individuals, no. Okay. But then we have what we call professionals who are called fund managers or venture capital financing company. Now, a venture capital financing company will apply to us that he wants to set up, let's say, let me use one of the funds that we set up recently in Jaro. Is setting up a fund of 150 million Ghana cedis, and we gave him 25 million Ghana cedis. What it means is that he's able to raise additional 125 million Ghana cedis. So Injaro now has 150 million that he's disbursing. He's a fund manager. So when he's giving you money, you don't see the face of venture capital. You see the face of Injaro. Now your question is, how do we select these fund managers that we've been giving the money to? Because people always ask, why are you giving the money to another person to be given to us. The advantage is what I have said. He's able to raise or leverage on that, raise additional money to make the funds much bigger, 150. Now, on the basis of selecting a fund manager, one, has to be a legal entity, a registered company, registered in Ghana. Because you can't just give, it's a profession. Technical, they are providing technical services. And so you can't just give money to any other person. You have to be licensed by Securities and Exchange Commission so that you are regulated to make sure that, and even to get that license, you need to have 1 million Ghana cedis for yourself, so that when government of Ghana money and other investors' money are given to you, then you will not just go and do anything with the money, but rather use it to work. Apart from being licensed by SEC, you need to, in fact, that is the most important one. You need to have a strong team. It's a team. It's not a one-man business. A team of about minimum 4 to 5 people with a board. So the team has to prove that they have members in the team that will be able to manage the fund or the money that you are giving to them. Because the amount of money that we are talking about are quite huge. And so there is a need for a strong team. That is one of the things we look for. Then fund management experience. Do you have experience in that? I'm sure if you want to hire a driver, you want to see that the driver has a driving license, has a license from SEC, the driver is experienced so that he will not just go and crash your car. And so you need that experience. And then finally, you should have an SME experience because you are going to manage these SMEs. So you should understand what they are doing, so that when they have problems, you can then provide them with the technical advice, consultancy services that I mentioned earlier. So these are the things we look for. A legal entity, registration with SEC, a strong team, a fund management experience, and finally the SME sector experience.
And, in terms of SMEs, what are the requirements you look out for?
I have already said that the SMEs have to apply to the fund managers. So it's the fund managers that do their due diligence to actually select the companies that they invest in them. Now, once the fund managers, when we say we have committed money to a fund manager, we still keep the money. So when a fund manager does his due diligence and is satisfied that he's going to invest in company A or B, that is when we release. He will write to us. We call it capital call in our industry. Then we will send the money to him, and then he will forward it to that company. Now, what the fund managers look for, first, again, just as the fund manager is supposed to be a registered company or a legal entity, the business has to be a legal entity. The advantage is that we try to formalize the companies that we are financing. So you should be a registered company. You have to be paying your SNET. You have to be paying your taxes, because if you are going to actually access government money to support your business, then you should also play your part. You should pay your taxes. You should pay your SNET. So we have to make sure the company is formalized. After that, we need a business plan. I mean, that is the business. The key criteria for a venture capitalist is to make sure your business is viable. And then there is the right person behind that business. These two factors are very key. Viability of the business. So you won't even ask for collateral. Once you're able to prove to a fund manager that the business is viable, they will not even ask for collateral, which a bank will ask. And your business plan says a lot. It shows whether the business is profitable or not. How long will it take you to probably generate enough cash flow to exit the business? It shows whether you understand the business that you are going to do. Quite often people will come to you, they have ideas, but they can't actually put it into a business plan. And some people will say, oh, but I can't prepare a business plan. You need a professional to actually do it for you. So you have to pay for that services, somebody to prepare. You sell your idea to that person. The person will help you to actually prepare a business plan. So once you have a registered company, certificate of incorporation, certificate to commence business, if it's an existing business, your tax clearance certificate, and you have a very good plan. And then the third one is, if it's an existing business, you have to actually provide a minimum of 3-year financial statement to show the track record that the business actually has. Once you have these three things, you apply to a fund manager, you can apply through us, and depending on the business that you are doing, we can refer you to the right fund manager, and then they will look at your business and then work on it for you.
All right. So then tell us some of the achievements that the Venture Capital Trust Fund has chalked over the years.
Okay. I started by saying that our mandate, we were set up by an act of parliament, and our mandate is to set up funds and then invest in SMEs through these funds. So over the years, we've been able to set up 10 funds. We've been able to actually help 10 fund managers to set up 10 funds. If we have time, I can just quickly mention the names. We have Activity Venture Capital Finance Company. We have Bedrock Venture Capital Finance Company. We have Gold Venture. And then the fourth one is Ebankese. The fifth one is Fidelity Equity Fund. And then Overseas African Fund. We have the Industrial Support Fund. And then we had the recent ones that we've done in the past 2 months. We have Injaro Capital. We have Mripa SME Fund. And then we have Wangara Green Ventures, making it 10 in all. When you mention these ones, people are not able to relate. But I go beyond that to mention some of the companies that these fund managers have actually supported.
Okay. Just mention a few.
A few of them. So if you look at Activity, for instance, they've invested in Midland Savings and Loan, and they've exited. Vesta Oil is in Kumasi, producing oil for Ghanaians to consume. AUCC, that is African University College of Communication.
Close by the Anada, not too
very good. I mean, that is one of our investment. If you go to Bedrock, Elsa Foods, Yes Mineral Water is in the market. We have Saintlet Company Limited, which is a hospital or clinic, which is able to separate, sickle cell at pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And then we have Gold Venture also has invested in some of its successful companies, Caltech, that produce ethanol for the beverage or alcoholic companies. We have Villa Monticello. When you go to Abankase, we have Aziz Pension Fund, which is one of the largest pension funds in the country. We have Wenchi Rural Bank. We have Rising Sun Montessori. When you go to Oasis Africa, FAPIO, Legacy Girls, that beautiful girls school, we supported them. When you come to Industrial Support Fund, Piper Pretty is coming up near Kumasi, and then Fidelity, we have Adeshiman Savings and Loan, Diagnosis Center, and then Sweden Ghana Medical Center. So these are some of the companies that have benefited from funding that we have given to our fund managers.
Great. Wonderful. Just, if somebody wants to get in touch, how can they do that very quickly as we wrap it up?
Yes. Our number is 0302 671 317.
Okay.
0302 671 317. So if you get through to us and then you talk to us, we'll be able to link you to one of our fund managers who will actually support your business.
Great. Thank you. Wonderful stuff there. We've been speaking to Mr. Yawusu Brimpong. He's CEO of the Venture Capital Trust Fund, highlighting some of the very interesting things they do. So get in touch with them, 0302 671 317, and then they'll try and link you to one of the companies, and you are good to go. Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. We'll take a very, very quick break. When we come back, we have more for you, and then we'll call it a morning. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, though, we'll continue our regular conversation around HIV. Today, we are talking post-exposure prophylaxis. So do stick and stay. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
HIV chit chat in a bit, but Coco has a few things to tell us before that.
Yep, let me tell you about your favorite Coca-Cola. Okay, they want you to remember that you can get your favorite Coca-Cola brands at the following recommended retail prices. So Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, Fanta and Sprite in the 300ml returnable glass bottle is 2 cedis 50 pesos. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, Fanta and Sprite in the 300ml plastic bottle is 3 cedis 50 pesos. And your favorite Coca-Cola Classic, also in the 300ml plastic bottle, is a recommended retail price of 3 cedis 50 pesos. So whether you're hustling on a hot sunny day or hanging out with friends, make Coca-Cola a part of that moment. Coca-Cola, real refreshment for all occasions. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, you need to try it first. And great news for all hiring managers. You no longer have to worry about finding the right candidate for the job. Let The Room handle that. Collaborating with The Room, you can trust that you hire individuals who bring value to your company. Having gone through our training programs in software engineering, customer service, administration, and more, they're equipped and available to work both remotely and in person. Check out The Room via www.theroom.com. And Heritage Christian College, located at Amasaman behind the Olympic Stadium, is affiliated to KNUST and accredited by GTech. They offer many programs, BBA programs, BSc in Information Technology, Bachelor of Theology, tutorials for professional programs, and media and IT short courses. They also have entrepreneurship training with financial support, a one student, one laptop policy with 24/7 internet access, professional certificates in addition to degrees, scholarships, and so much more. Now, you can call 0547 777 731 to learn more, or dial star 789 star 300 hash. There's also a 50% tuition waiver for all January 2023 fresh students. Heritage Christian College, offering world-class university education and training compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
All right, let's get to the phone and let's speak to Dr. Henry Tego. He's with the USAID Care Continuum Project, and we are talking about post-exposure prophylaxis. Dr. Tego, if you can hear me, good morning. Welcome to the Citi Breakfast Show.
Good morning, and thank you, and good morning to your cherished listeners. Thanks again for connecting so that we talk about HIV prevention.
Great. First off, what is post-exposure prophylaxis?
Yes, we've heard about the HIV new infection rate going up, and Ghana AIDS Commission, National AIDS Control Program, Ghana Health Service, and the Ministerial Health and their partners have worked so much so that we currently have the new efficacious HIV prevention package in the country to prevent HIV infection. We know about ART for treatment. We talked a couple of weeks ago about PrEP. PrEP or post-exposure prophylaxis is one of the prevention tools. PrEP means that taking medicine to prevent HIV infection after a possible exposure. So it is a short-term ARV treatment to reduce the likelihood of HIV infection after a potential exposure through occupational or through sexual intercourse. But PrEP should be taken only in emergency situation.
Okay.
When I talk about emergency situation, it's like if somebody get raped, it's an emergency. You don't know the HIV status of the person who commits the rape, so you want to prevent the victim from HIV infection. So you have to give the victim PrEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, because it's already been exposed to the act that can lead to HIV infection. Maybe you're also at a hospital, you accidentally prick yourself with a needle, you've been exposed, that's an emergency. You should be also given PrEP. Also, if you're having sex and the condom breaks, that's an emergency and it's a high-risk situation. You should also be initiated on PrEP so that you not get infected.
Great. Just quickly, just tell us the difference between the post-exposure prophylaxis and pre-exposure prophylaxis.
So, post-exposure prophylaxis and pre-exposure prophylaxis are not the same thing. So, PrEP, as we call it, or PrEP as pre-exposure, as the name means, before you get exposed exposed to the potential things that will lead you to HIV infection, then you have to be taking that medication called PrEP. But post-exposure is after you've been exposed. Immediately you take PrEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, to prevent you from getting infection.
Okay.
And PrEP, you take it as long as the risk exists. So if you have a continual risk, you should continue taking PrEP. That is pre-exposure prophylaxis. But post-exposure prophylaxis, you just take it for a short time after you've been exposed.
Okay. How available is post-exposure prophylaxis, and are they free?
Yes. So currently, post-exposure prophylaxis is available in all ART sites or facilities across the country. So any facility that give people opportunity to take ART for HIV treatment or care should be able to provide you post-exposure prophylaxis. And it is free, just like any other ART or ARV. They are free for clients who go in for them.
Great. When is post-exposure prophylaxis most effective?
So post-exposure prophylaxis is most effective when it's taken within 72 hours after potential exposure. The sooner you take it, the better. For every hour counts when it comes to effectiveness of post-exposure prophylaxis. So you don't have to wait. Maybe you get exposed on Friday. You don't have to wait to go to the hospital on Monday for it, because for ART sites, every day is a clinic day. From Monday to Sunday, you can approach any ART site and get access to post-exposure prophylaxis. So the sooner you take it within 72 hours, is better for HIV prevention. If you delay, then your chances are very minimal.
And how long does one have to take the post-exposure prophylaxis?
The post-exposure prophylaxis is taken for only 28 days after exposure. So if you get exposed today and you're able to walk into the facility and they text you and you're HIV negative, but because you've been exposed, they'll give you post-exposure prophylaxis from today. You only have to take it for 28 days and go back for a review.
Okay. How effective is it, and what happens if I miss a day?
It is effective if you take it within 72 hours. It's highly effective and can prevent HIV infection. The issue is that if you miss a day, so if I'm supposed to take it in the morning and I miss it in the morning, whenever I remember, I should take it. But if it's 24 hours after you remember, you don't need to take 2 pills, because it's a daily pill. You have to take 1 every day.
Okay.
You only take 1. So whenever you forget and it's less than 24 hours, you can take your medication as usual. But if it's after 24 hours, you only take 1. Don't take 2 because you miss 1 day. No.
Okay. All right. I mean, finally, what happens if somebody who is on PEP gets another exposure? What should that person do?
So it is not encouraged to keep exposing yourself because you are already on PEP. It's not good. What it is that you have to continue taking your medication, but it could happen that you get another exposure. Continue taking your medication and then report to your health service provider, because if you continue exposing yourself while you're on PEP, it's not going to protect you. It's not going to protect you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Henry Tego. Dr. Henry Tego. He's with the USAID Care Continuum. We've been chatting about post-exposure prophylaxis. It's part of our HIV chat that we have almost every Wednesday.
Can I put in a last word?
Yes. Last word, please. You can.
Yes. So what I have to say is that if you are currently not infected with HIV today, then you have a better opportunity not to get HIV, because there's PrEP, there's PEP, there's ART for you to stay negative. So let's encourage each other to approach the ART site. You can also call *212# on all networks in Ghana. It's toll free to talk to trained professional helpline counselors who are nurses who can talk to you about PEP, about PrEP, about HIV self-testing, about HIV and other STI treatments and prevention. They even can give you information about COVID-19 vaccine and other information that you need to stay healthy. So please, let's make ourselves available. Let's dial the short code *212# and you'll be connected to a professional helpline counselor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was Dr. Henry Tego with the USAID Care Continuum Project. We've been talking about post-exposure prophylaxis. So listening to the City Breakfast Show. 0549-986-996. That's the text and WhatsApp number. You can send in your messages. But let's move on. Let's talk a bit about education and education-related events. STEMnovation 2022 is happening. And to talk about that, we have Nana Frasika Mensah, Deputy Coordinator at the Free SHS Secretariat. We also have Samuel Owusu Boateng, who's CEO of Cocktail Media. And we have Aaron Chum Akwabwa, Director, Strategy and Innovation at the Ministry of Education. We're talking STEMnovation. So you can see the fusion, STEM and innovation. Gentlemen and lady, good morning. Welcome to the City Breakfast Show. I hope we are fine. Good morning. Great. The last time we had this chat, the date is almost here.
Yes.
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Great. For somebody who missed that conversation, here's a double take. Let's just start from the very. So let's talk about the ministry's STEM agenda. What is it all about? Why is the ministry interested in STEM? Why are we not doing something else? Why are we worrying ourselves over science, tech, engineering, and math?
I mean, that's questionable. Sounds rhetorical, right? Like, of course, we need to do so.
Yes.
Well, we're living in a competitive world, and to be competitive, and for our students to be able to move into the world that we want them to move into, they need these skills. They need the science skills, the technology, engineering, and the mathematical skills, and of course, the art skills to design these type of things. We wouldn't be in this studio all over the country and all over the world broadcasting if it wasn't for those type of science skills. So in the wisdom of the minister and the ministry, the goal is to ensure that we have enough young men and women who are equipped with those type of skills. Now, the question is always, but for what purpose? Mm-hmm. What would it lead us to, right? Number one is going to be economic transformation. Let's think about Dubai, who got independence in 1970 or 1971. And so in the last 50 years, look what they've been able to become. Mm-hmm. You look at a place like Korea, when they received independence and finished their war in the 50s, just like we got independence in 57, we were pretty much on par. Now they exceed our gross domestic product by more than 30 times. Why is that? Because they use STEM education to build their society. So that's another thing. And lastly, really truly, and this is for all the young people and the parents out there, parents, your child's job doesn't exist yet. Let me say that again. Your child's job doesn't exist yet. This job that you're doing, the way you're doing it, especially being broadcast all over the world, did not exist maybe even when you were in school. So we need to be able to give our students the kind of skills, we call it future-proofing skills, that will allow them to be successful in the future because their job does not exist yet. They have to go make it.
They have to make their job. Great. So against that backdrop, there's STEMnovation. Yes. But really, what does STEMnovation seek to do? What's the vision? What's the mission? Why are we doing STEMnovation in the first place?
Yes, so we are hoping in the next 5 to 10 years,
we will have locally engineered, in the next 10 to 5 years, we'll be having locally engineered solutions to problems in Ghana.
Okay.
And the agenda is changing Ghana one community at a time. So somebody may ask, how do you replicate, how does STEM innovation affect the whole country? The children built projects that were targeted at solving problems within their respective communities on the theme of solar, coding and programming, and recycling.
Okay.
If these projects are adopted and they are implemented, even at the community level, across all 16 regions, you are actually touching Ghana. And the agenda here is to change Ghana one community at a time with made in Ghana products and services developed by Ghanaian children, not by Western sources, Ghanaian children. And eventually we will not be importing so much. Our dollar dollar CD ratio would become very stable, because then we are buying made in Ghana.
Okay.
So that's the agenda.
Let's talk about the competition itself, right? I mentioned that the finals were happening tomorrow and Friday.
Yes.
But somebody will say, okay, so how did we get here? How did we get to a final? How did we put everybody together?
Okay.
Yeah, so we did a prelim. We had about 200 entrants.
Okay.
Then it was shortlisted to 97. The
So
97,
people had to file an entry.
Excellent.
I see. The schools had to do so.
It was open to every TVET school, Technical Vocational Institute, and then senior high school technical, and then senior high schools. And then they all submitted. The requirement was shoot a short video, 5-minute video of your innovation. And your innovation should be solving a problem in your community. And then the videos were vetted. The ones that reached completion, some level of completion, were about 97. And they were invited to compete. And the contest was virtual. So after balloting, they appeared in pairs. So it's a pitch contest. You pitch your idea, I pitch mine. A team of judges listen, they award points. And Mr. Kwabwa was sitting on the panel. He actually interacted with some of the coding projects. He will throw some light on that. And then we had a progression from one level to another. That is how we got here. Now we have 16 regional champions. That means the highest scoring projects in each region, plus some extra 8 schools, making it 24 schools. And they are coming. As we speak, they are arriving. Some have arrived already. They are camping at University of Ghana, Legon. Tomorrow we'll have the quarterfinal. Quarterfinal, they'll go head-to-head. Eliminations, you pitch, I pitch. And tomorrow they are addressing socio-economic value of their projects. And they are also addressing specific use of their category. If it's a solar project, how does it solve the power crisis? If it's recycling, how does it help us to get rid of the annual flooding? If it is a coding and programming, how does it fast track the service delivery and bridges the gap, the tech gap Ghana has? So they will have eliminations. 12 schools will remain, 12 will be eliminated. And then the next 12 will go to tomorrow. They'll do the semi-final. That's Friday. Semi-final before lunch. There will be one last contest. After lunch, we'll come and do the grand finale.
Wow.
The showdown. And then we'll see who is who.
Wow. Sounds intense but exciting. But so how is this different from other competitions? What makes STEM innovation different?
Because ours is practical. And it seeks to solve societal problems. And in other contests, you ask questions and then students will just answer you. But on this STEM innovation show working. We give you a thematic areas: recycling, coding, coding and programming, and then solar. Create a problem, and that problem seeks to solve a societal problem within your locality. So it's not something chew, pour, and forget. It's something that you are creating for yourself.
I see.
Yeah, that makes STEM innovation different from all other contests.
So it's different, obviously, in the results that we're receiving. Like one of our schools is actually it created a lighting source, solar source, and now they're using it in the community.
Oh, I see.
I'm not going to mention names, but there are very few contests in Ghana or other places that would be doing that if it's a memorization thing. Also, I really like the contestants. We said we had 200 entrants. That means about a quarter of all second cycle schools in the country were contestants. Now, you may not think that's a lot, but if we did our launch for the event September 5th. So within a week, we had a quarter of the schools in Ghana joining in. And then the people who are in the semifinals and all these things, these last 24 schools, they're from all over, and they're not your usual. You have a few of like I know that school, I know that school, but like I talked about last time, you have a blend. You have a lot of more deprived schools, all girls schools, just from all over the country, schools that I didn't know existed. And I work in a ministry, say, hey, what is this? But that is, to me, the best piece. And then the last piece is the ability to show true and real creativity and confidence. Because as a judge, I'll ask you, why do you think that should work? And that doesn't happen in other ones when it's about memorization. Okay. You tell me that the boiling point is 32, and we have to take that as a fact or not a fact, and we move on. But when I ask you, how does your solar panel work? And how does it take it from 15 degrees Celsius to 32? You have to explain why. And then when I see that it's not working, I'm going to challenge you. Okay. But then you two will challenge me. So even in the judging, we spend more time in the judging than even then presenting because we ask the questions. Okay. Other contests don't do that.
And then it's a leveler. It's only STEMnovation platform is where you can have TVETs competing equally on the same
category A schools,
the senior high schools, and the senior high technical. Okay. If you said they should do some math, the quickest person to have an answer, TVET schools will get 0. Because then when they said you pitch PreSec against one of the TVET schools, PreSec will get 100 points. That school gets 0. But if you say, let's build something, let's all have enough time to think, process, create a solution, TVET schools will come up with something, PreSec will come up with something, and we can weigh them. That's a level.
And last piece, as you do that level, then you actually have 2 very good options to pick from. So company A can say, I want to do PreSec thing and fund it. Company B can say, I want to do East Legon Applied Technology Schools thing and do what? Fund it. But if we were just doing the memorization, we will applaud the school that won
that comes up
and deride the school that lost and then make fun of them. And that doesn't build anyone. But in this way, there are almost no losers. Everyone is a winner because of what they created.
Great. So what's next? This year's competition is almost done, but what's next? What's the next level? What's the next chapter for STEMnovation?
So STEMnovation next chapter, Mr. Kwabwa mentioned the other day, we are looking at STEAM. So we are looking at STEMnovation A+, where A+ is the arts. You are bringing in the arts, and you're going to combine the skills of the art person who can visualize, who can draw, who can create, with the scientist who has the science, the physics, chemistry, math, biology. They will work together and they'll be able to develop STEAM projects. And the next level is to see the projects. This year, the projects we are getting are going to labs. So Kantanka is helping. We are taking them to the labs. We are going to upgrade them. He has a lot of tech. He has already developed a program for university engineering students to be coming for 1 month internships to learn engineering. And he's interested in these projects. They are going to upscale and implement at just the local level, basic community level.
Great.
We see what will happen for Ghana.
Now, final words.
Okay, so we want to say thank you to the coaches and also the students for a good job done. I must say they've done a good job.
Making it this far is not easy.
So at this point, everybody is a winner. And we want to say thank you to Honorable Minister. He's been a chief advocate. If we sent our proposal to him, he didn't approve it, there's no way we will get here. So we are so grateful, Mr. Minister, and the deputies as well. And also our coordinator for Free Senior High School, Mr. William Dakwa. We want to say a very big thank you to him. And our sponsors, the staff at the Ministry of Education, and also the Free Senior High School Secretariat. They are just on points. They've done a great job. And then from Cocktail Media and the team, they are top notch. We are so grateful.
All of our sponsors.
Everybody, all of our sponsors.
Goyle and
from Goyle, Talo, Oil, KA Technology, Omega for providing us with computers and laptops to be given to the students.
You got a question?
No. I just finish up because our time is up now.
Okay, just finishing up with also just sending some love out to our partners as our teachers. Our teachers have done a wonderful job, not just the ones who are working with our students and coaching, but all of our teachers and to our supporters at GAS.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I had Nana Afrasika Mensah, Deputy Coordinator of the Free SHS Secretariat. I had Samuel Owusu Barton, CEO of Cocktail Media, and Aaron Chuma Kwabwa, Director Strategy and Innovation at the Ministry of Education. We're talking about STEMnovation. The final is happening tomorrow and Friday. So just pass by and be blown away by amazing things. At the University of Ghana. Issa Hall. Thank you so much.
So thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So we'll be expecting you tomorrow.
Yes, we'll be there.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Please come.
All right, that's our City Breakfast Show for the morning. My name is Nathan Kwai. I sat in for Bernard Avle. Earlier, you heard Godfred Akotoboafo, Samuel Atabmensa, and Kokwi Salome Hansen. Fred Jabano Caleb Kuda produced the show. Godfred Odum gave us help on technical. The news at 10 is here. How I Idrisu is here with